Okay, we're live. Ah, you son of a bitch. Said, oh my god, we're live. Just kidding. It should be now. I'm actually streaming now. Try now. Here we go. Alright, give me 1 second. I just gotta mute everything. Because I don't want another echoing issue like we had last time. Oh my gosh, and my stream is is green. It's not yellow this time. But that might be just because it just started, so give me 1 second. I'm just going through settings right now. How you guys doing? What's going on? Thank you guys all for joining. Stardust, Dan. There's two Dans. There's Muffin Man Dan, and then there's that Kaito Dan. And you both do RWBY videos, so I think that's really funny. I see you guys both in here. Let's see. How's everything? I don't know the delay. Holy fuck, 97 people. Wow. I'm expecting, well, I don't really know how things gonna work. So I was supposed to start streaming about 2 hours ago. But my sister had come down and she brought my nieces, and I rarely see my nieces. I think it's been like a year since I've seen them. They live out in Boston, but my sister's like caught up in her life, and she has 3 daughters, and they're all a handful, and I love them to death. But they came down for the weekend, and they ended up staying a bit longer, so I was only supposed to watch them for a certain amount of time, and my sister had left, and I was still with them, and I was like, it's 3 o'clock, I can't in good conscience stream with them down to, like, they had, I fed them, I gave them drinks and all that stuff, and they were like watching Arthur. The ages, like, one's 5, one's 6, and then one's 10, so they can very much like handle themselves, like when it comes to just being calm and watching TV and stuff, but I didn't want to stream when it was just me and them here, and especially them being downstairs. So I just ended up staying with them. My 2 brothers ended up coming over, so they're watching her now. They're watching my nieces now. Well, they're nieces too, but they're watching them now. And I'm streaming, and this is probably going to be like an hour and a half stream, depending on whoever's willing to show up, as long as it's, yeah, Arthur was pretty awesome. I love it. Yeah. No, Arthur isn't a thing anymore. My brother was putting on reruns on Netflix for them, but I grew up watching Arthur. I used to watch Arthur, and then I was watching an episode with them, and the opening came on, and I was remembering it as I was watching it, and then I was singing along, and my nieces were like, you watched Arthur when you were a kid? And then they're like, you're so old though. I was like, damn. Because most of the time when I explained to them things in the past, I was like, when I was your age, like, I'm 26, and the youngest one is 21 years younger than me, so in that perspective, I am very old, especially since they're young and Arthur's on, and I'm 20, like I said, 26, and Arthur was going on since I was a kid. So, hey, what's up, Nico Lee? What's up? Thank you for joining. Damn, getting hit with that age attack. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, you gotta love family. All is forgiven. Yeah, I absolutely adore my nieces. I consider my nieces kind of like, almost in a way, they're kind of like, whenever they come over, whenever I watch them, I kind of take it as if, like, they're my own kids. Because, eventually I'll have kids of my own, but it's almost cool because they're kind of like, I set the standards for them, and I want them to, behave themselves and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of cool to almost have them around whenever they are around, and think of them like as not my nieces, but as like my own kids. Like I would, I treat them the same way. So, oh yeah, that's actually a good question. So for anybody in here, if you guys are comfortable with letting me know, how old are all of you? Like, what's the age range going on? I know some people are already mentioning it in the chat. We have 16, 19, 28, 30. Actually, someone's in here. 2 people in here are actually older than I am, so you guys actually make me feel a lot a lot younger for myself. Your live stream is not on... Wait, what? My live stream isn't on YouTube? Well, there goes the chat. 15, 20, 26, 21, 22, 23, 14, 19, 17. Wow. That is pretty cool. Oh, 16. My fate, like, one of my most memorable, like, periods of my life was like 17. My like when I turned 17, like that entire year was just so awesome. My junior year of high school, and you know, I was more of like an adult. Like I was, you know, I had my own responsibilities and stuff like that. I didn't feel as much as a kid, and that was more of the times that I was actually being able to go out without permission and stuff like that, and hanging out with my friends late and going out late and stuff like that. I think 17 is probably like one of my most memorable moments growing up. Yo, Arnold, rad shirt. Thanks, dude. A lot of people notice this. It's a Pokemon shirt. So I have like Charizard. Oh, look, hold on. Charizard, Gengar, Pikachu. Meowth is down here. We have a Charmander over here. And then what else to say? We have at the bottom we have a Snorlax, Fennekin, Jolteon, Chespin, Feraligatr, Raichu. And then it like goes all around the back too. My friend Justin got me this shirt for my birthday last year. So a lot of people ask, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Whenever I do a video, they'll mention like what shirts I have. Like I have this, I have like a PS2 shirt. I have a ton of Kingdom Hearts shirts and RWBY shirts. But yeah, most of the time, like this shirt I ended up getting for Christmas. Christmas for my birthday. What's on the back? I have no idea. Oh, there's an Eevee. There's an Eevee on my, right here on the sleeve. There's an Eevee, there's a Squirtle. So, and then what's on this side? Oh, another Eevee, and I think that's I don't even know what that is right there. I think that's is that Greninja? I don't know. I can't really tell. But yeah, so there's a shit ton of Pokemon on this shirt. Yeah, Pokemon's my jam, dude. I grew up watching Pokemon. All the way up until, I would say I grew like I was very attached to Pokemon all the way up until what would I say? Probably 3rd gen was kind of where I started falling off, especially with the video games. I played all the way up to Ruby and Sapphire was the last game that I really finished. I didn't really like Diamond and Pearl, and then they remade the old Pokemon games like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Heart Gold, Soul Silver was the last Pokemon game that I really delved into and played. I didn't get X and Y. I absolutely hated Black and White, and I think at this point I'm already done with it to where I'm not even going to bother with Sun and Moon. Weiss's dad is called the Lorax. Oh, that's awesome, because his mustache, dude. Hey, what's up, Colin Johnson? Thanks for joining, dude. Anybody notice Arnold's audio is a bit laggy? Is it? Is that happening for anybody else? It might just be like latency issues or like latency connections. I tried my best to, like, I'm hardwired and everything. Actually, let me just double check that real quick. Yeah, I'm hardwired right now, so I'm off of like an Ethernet cord instead of Wi-Fi, so I have like the most solid connection. Not to me. You're fine. I'm good. Just got home. Nice. There's 246 people in here. That's way more than the other day. Was it yesterday? No. It wasn't yesterday. It was Sunday. Sunday I did like a test stream, and there was like 100 and something people. There was like 150 people in here. Now there's 250 people in here, which is already ridiculous. The audio is a bit laggy, is it? The stream is acting up. We broke it. There's a slight delay. Really? Live stream not on YouTube? What do you mean? I can't stream. I prefer kind of YouTube just because that's where most of the subs are. And I was originally going to... Hey, Renee. I was originally going to stream on Twitch. However, Twitch ended up not being the safest bet for me because I kind of assumed, because they do have a portion of the of Twitch where you don't just have to play video games. You can cook, you can eat on stream, you can do like topic discussions and stuff like that. And I assumed like, okay, you can just go on there and talk to your audience. And I was basing that solely off of the fact that, okay, I can go on Twitch and I can just do like a Q&A discussion and talk to people about whatever. But I did research, and it has to be gaming related. Like, it has to be like a gaming discussion of whatever. So I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to take the chance of like getting my channel suspended or getting in trouble because I'm not following the guidelines. And then I didn't even know YouTube had like streaming like this, like via OBS and all that other stuff. So it actually worked out in the end because, like, right now there's 275 people in here, which is great. And then on top of that, anyone who can't make this, I don't have to worry about editing. I don't have to worry about exporting or anything. The second this stream is done, it's automatically going to be uploaded to my channel. And then anybody who misses it can just watch it. And that's less work that I have to do. And that's how it turned out with the live stream test stream that I did. Like a bunch of people ended up watching that and were able to catch up because they didn't know I was streaming, and I didn't plan for that to be a stream either. I was just testing it out, and it ended up turning into a stream. You're surprised? No. If anything, I'm surprised that, like, well, because it's different. Like, I guess in a way you could be surprised that there's only 270 something people in here, because like when you look at the views of my videos, they're in the tens of thousands. But when you think about it, like YouTube, like when it comes to those videos, that's on demand. That's like you can watch that at your own leisure. You can watch it as soon as it's uploaded, or when you have time, or whatever. Like when it comes to this, I actually think it's just as impressive, if not more impressive, that at least 272 concurrent people around wherever you guys may live are watching this simultaneously. I think that has a lot more weight and impact on the fact that people willingly want to know, want to interact with me in real time versus in the comment section of a comment that I might read and not respond to, or you don't know if I'll respond to, or you don't know if I'll read it or whatever. So I actually kind of, I mean, I never have any expectations when I stream. When I stream, I just expect someone to show up. I don't have like a target number in mind. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no Harambe stuff, guys. I don't want the chat to be annoying today. I don't want anyone else to be annoyed by it either. So just keep that in mind. There is going to be, hold on a second. I'm going to have to, oh crap, hold on. What are your PC specs? Yeah, you don't want to know. I'm using a laptop from 2009, so I guess that's how much you can take. You can take that however you want in terms of this, figuring out the specs I have. Oh, you're from Massachusetts. I'm also from Mass. That's nice. Okay. Oh, hold on. I'm just gonna make a few pre-mods right now, just so I can make sure that I don't have to worry about anything that happens while the stream's going. Hold on. I don't know if it tells you that you've become a mod, like when I mod people, but for right now, I'm just kind of. Is it streaming by Twitch too, or just YouTube? No, this is just a YouTube stream. Twitch, I wasn't able to stream on there because they have a very strict gaming-only specific topic. So when it comes to doing like Q&As or discussions like this, so that's basically why I'm on YouTube now. And I didn't know that YouTube actually notified subscribers that I'm live. I don't know if you get it from email or if you get a YouTube notification, but I think that's pretty dope. Hey, what's up, Jess? Oh, nice. So it does tell you that you got modded. Great. Oh, my boy Kyle. Yo, Kyle, you gonna play League again tonight? I'll definitely play League again. Toon Link Master, how's it going, dude? Thanks for joining the stream. You have now become a mod. And this is just a preference, not a preference, but this is just like, you guys are probably wondering, well, you're just modding, who are you modding? You're just modding random people. A lot of people who are in the chat right now are already mods of mine on Twitch, so that's kind of like the parallel that I'm going to keep consistent. There is no real way to try to become a mod in a way. I guess eventually, like I know a lot of people's by username. Like I have a really good memory. I have like a, believe it or not, I've never studied for anything in my life because I have a photogenic mind. Like I'm able to just remember things off of sight. So I'm very good at remembering usernames. Like I can't match a name with a username, like or a face with a username. But I very much remember usernames, like whether they're in the comment section, whether they're in the chat or anything like that. So that's basically. Oh shit! What's up, Cart? You guys, Cardo1989 in the chat right now. Shout out to him. He does all of my He does all of my thumbnails, like all of my original thumbnails that are for my channel. I'm not very tech savvy when it comes to thumbnails. He does all of them, and he did this pretty cool one. I'll show it to you right now. This is kind of cool because like if I ever have to step away or something, I don't want you guys to just have an empty, you know, like an empty room and people are like, where the hell is he? So I have this right here, this little image, and it's inspired. Right now, it's kind of like in an early stage, but it's inspired by Kingdom Hearts, and then the background is Grim Eclipse. And this is kind of like what I'll put up if I ever have to step away for a second. I'll be like, yo, I'll be right back. Don't leave. I'm gonna go do something, whatever. This is kind of like what I have up for that. And he just made that for me a little while ago for the purpose of these streams. And he's done like all the thumbnails that you guys have seen, like all the thumbnails that really grab your attention, whether it was the RWBY concept art or the some of the ones that I've teased, like the Cinder one he did, and all that stuff. So he's fucking awesome. He's on YouTube. He has a Patreon and he has Twitter. Cartoon1989. He's fucking awesome, and he's literally a lifesaver of mine when it comes to thumbnails, because it's like that's the first thing that entices people to click on a video. So you definitely save my ass more than you probably know. How long is this chat? There's no definitive time. We haven't even like okay, so I dedicate like the first 20 minutes or so of every stream that I ever do is dedicated to the chat and dedicated to letting people join and stuff like that. Like we're at 341 viewers right now. So I'm letting the chat build up right now, and I do apologize in advance. What you guys have to understand, one of two things. Number one, there is no way to moderate the speed level of chats. So if you guys could just, be easy with, commenting, unless you do really want to get something addressed to me. Also, if you guys want to send me, if you guys want me to notice something in the chat, a good way to do that, or a good way for me to catch someone's eye when it comes to wanting to ask me a question, use the @ sign, like @MurderofBirds, and then it'll highlight your question on my screen, and it'll let me be able to see it a lot better. Don't spam that, don't abuse it. I just want to do that because there were some people in the last stream, which this stream has double the people that were in the last one, but there were a bunch of people in the last stream that were like, oh, I have a question, and I kept asking in the chat, but you're not able to watch it. What you guys have to understand is, like, there's 300 people in here, and there's a limited amount of space between questions to where I can notice one, on top of the fact that I'm just rambling and talking. So that's something you guys are just going to have to understand and just come to terms with, that every question won't be answered, but I will try my best to scope out every single one in here. Yeah, like wristwatch testing. Devon, you met. Oh, Nico B, yo, he's awesome, dude. I can't wait for him to get back to Kingdom Hearts. Toon Link Master, how long will you be streaming for? I'm gonna be streaming probably for the next hour and a half or so. Are you gonna stream Grim Eclipse? When I get my PC, I should. What's the biggest hype for Volume 4? New characters, new environments, new weapons, new semblances, new anything, basically. What's up with the late stream time? I was babysitting my nieces, and I didn't have anybody to watch them while I streamed, so I had to wait for my brother to get back. My two brothers are actually here right now watching my nieces, so now I'm able to have the free time, so I do apologize for that. Did you get the Steelbook today? My Steelbook doesn't come in until next week, but it hasn't shipped yet, so I haven't gotten charged, but it will be coming. What do you think about Ozpin and Salem? I think they have a history together. I think they go further back than even the Great War, because their names are the only names in RWBY that don't reference to color, which is what inspired like the end of the war. Was like Ozpin mentioned during his speech that the Great War, like after the Great War, like people wanted to express themselves through individuality, expressionism, and diversity, and they started naming their kids after color. But Ozpin and Cinder are the two in the world of Remnant, really, that don't go by that logic. So yeah, guys, only use the @MurderofBirds if you want to ask me a question. If you want to just generally type, that's fine, but I don't want you guys to just get in the habit of just using that every time you want to send something. I definitely want it to be priority. Do you ship Bumblebee? I don't really ship anyone, to be exact. To be quite honest, I think there are ships that are just blatantly obvious, like Arcos, for example, or Black Sun, for example, just because there is a general interest in one person or the other. I love the shipping names more than anything. I'm not one who goes out of my way to be like, I want these two people to get together. I love the creativity that comes from the shipping, mainly like the names, for example, like Silence is Golden. I think that's a really cool one. Nuts and Dolts is a pretty cool name as well. I just like the shipping names more than anything. What's your favorite volume of RWBY? That's tough. I don't know if I have one. I think it's even too early to tell, just because they do age pretty well. What's your favorite Pokemon? Oh, I can't even ask that. Okay. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into the live discussion of the latest RWBY Volume 4 character short, the character trailer that recently came out yesterday. I kind of was out of whack yesterday because I didn't know that Rooster Teeth was going to release it to the public immediately. I thought it was going to be kind of like what they always do with their animations, like it comes out first for sponsors, and then it comes out 24 hours later for the site, and then a week later for everyone else. But granted, the fact that it was already out on Rooster Teeth's website, granted it was already at RTX, and most of the people who went there got to see it, I can understand their idea, the logic behind just releasing it for everyone. And that kind of took me aback, because yesterday I was just supposed to record, edit, and render, and then work on, getting screenshots for this. And then I was like, shit, that means I have to upload my video as soon as possible. So I had to end up uploading my video yesterday, which kind of set everything back a bit too. But yeah, so what did you guys think about the trailer? Did you guys like it? Obviously, it's just... it was very, very exciting. It gave us a lot to look forward to, like in terms of like the nature of the Grimm now, the level of the animation, the new program that they're using, Maya, upgrading from Poser. It was amazing. I loved it. Awesome. Nice. I'm sorry to spam, but do you think RWBY is older? She'll get a canon love interest. I'm assuming so. That just comes with age. Maybe she's at the age where she doesn't worry about, the opposite sex, just because that's how it usually is. There's a point in there was a point in my life where it just clicked, and I was like, holy shit, like, a lot of these girls are attractive all of a sudden. So, it's just a matter of where her mind is at. Like, is her mind on the task at hand? Does she have the free time for something like that? So, maybe not. I feel like RWBY is just more straightforward than everybody else. Like, she's set on her goals, and everything else will come as a result. But I don't know. Who knows? As of right now, the only love interest that we've ever really seen in the show is like Nora, Ren, Jean and Pyrrha, Sun and Blake, and I think that's it. Maybe tension with Crow and Winter, Glinda and Ironwood. But that's like the only instance of ever like going into that avenue of like romance or whatever. And I don't think that's what RWBY's really like trying to cover. I think ultimately the Arcos situation was more of like the character development between them two, and it's relatable. You know what I mean? Like, Jean's oblivious, and Pyrrha is putting all her she's her advances are getting shot. We're getting shot down. But how old are you? I'm 26 years old. But yeah. So anyways, we're gonna start right now. And this took me a really long time. I have about 65 screenshots that I took between last night and today of the trailer. And how this is going to work is we're going to click this, and we're going to have a screenshot in the corner here. I'm going to just talk about whatever. I'll look over to the chat, and we're going to go about this in a progressive way, like from start to finish. I'm going to mention everything that I'm going to talk about. This is very freeform. I didn't really do much in terms of rewatching, scene by scene, frame by frame, anything like that. So there's going to be a lot of instances where I'm lost in thought or I'm trying to remember things. And this is very, very much freeform. I will have a more formal, a more professional review analysis, similar to the trailer concept art that I did a couple of days ago, in the next couple of days, next week the latest. But yeah, so first thing that I want to mention is this trailer immediately reminded me of the original Red trailer. I felt like watching this was kind of an homage to that. in the way that especially in the way that it opens. Like, Ruby is on a cliffside. She's, visiting her mother's grave, but the location is very akin to how this starts, of being on a cliffside, of walking through a forest. Granted, this one is actually a dense forest, where the other one was just dead trees in the middle of a tundra area. And I thought to myself, God damn it, frames. I didn't think God damn it, frames. Someone just typed that. And I thought to myself, I said, I wouldn't be surprised, maybe this is, like, and this would probably give people a reason to think, oh, we're going to get other trailers because this one is the same thing. Monty created the red trailer. I believe Monty created that solely by himself prior to RWBY really kicking off. And I think it was great how, the animation team kind of took it upon themselves to be like, hey, let's do something that pays tribute to the original red trailer, which was something that was created by Monty, which started everything. So I really like how this started out. Moving on from this scene, this right here was really cool because it kind of shows you like the shading, the shade on her cape. And the coolest thing that I noticed here, and I'm gonna do like a back and forth. If you see the pendant that's on her cape, her rose pendant, it actually reflects in the light. If you can, hold on, let me see if I can get this right here. Like, going back and forth, like it's shiny right there, and then like it's shaded. So I kind of like that attention to detail. I think Maya does that a lot better than what Poser did, because I don't think Poser was ever really designed to be an animation software. I think Monty was able to push it to its limits to get the results he wanted, but Maya, at the end of the day, that's what it's built for. It's built for scalability. It's built for making the show as best as possible with its scalability of whatever they're able to work with now versus what the show will look like in the future. So I kind of noticed that immediately. Let's see. How much does the Autodesk Maya cost? I have no idea. I don't use Maya. I don't know how to animate or anything like that. So, the shiny pendant. Yeah, pretty much. So, from that, this is probably this is a really, really good shot that caught my attention. Like, again, the attention to detail, the trees, the shading, and just how the darkness and the it kind of sets the tone for kind of how Volume 3 took off, with leaving us on a very dark and depressing cliffhanger. And just like, once the transition is made, you can hear like the background, like the ominous background noise, and it just fits from the scale of seeing these trees and then seeing RWBY on the cliff with the village burning. You hear people screaming, the moonlight in the background, the lighting, RWBY's shadow on the cliff. Again, the cliffside is kind of akin to the cliffside of the original trailer, and I think that really it speaks a lot on, again, the upgrade in animation. I've seen a ton of people in the community so far who have mentioned like they don't like the animation, it hasn't grown on them yet, it's taking a while, and I can understand that. A lot of people are not afraid of change, but they're hesitant of change. And it's just, I don't really know if this is cell shading or what have you, but I'm very much for change and improvement if its potential is a payoff. Like, this looks way better than the earlier volumes of RWBY, like especially Volume 1. And you have people that say that they hate change, and it's like, well, from Volume 1, you can't tell me like Volume 1 you liked that. Like, in retrospect, like, you're lying to yourself if you say you do. And like, again, in hindsight, because from Volume 2, 3, and what we're getting from this for Volume 4, it seems to me like it's only getting better as time goes on. So that's my opinion. Like, that's generally how I feel about just seeing all of this. Like, it does a very good job. Like, the trailer, I think, does a great job at just giving you an idea of what you can expect in terms of the visuals. RWBY looks more lifelike. She doesn't look like a ghost. She actually has a nose. She has, like, everyone has lips. She has like a complexion to her. There's particle effects, there's lighting effects. It just looks so good, and I can't really fault Rooster Teeth for wanting to change their animation software for the fact of it just looks better over time. So, I did like the shadow people. I will say that. Like, a lot of people knock that, and Rooster Teeth kind of looks down on the fact that, it's just the production. I kind of liked that in a way. It kind of gave you an idea. Okay, you're important. We'll see you later. But I kind of like the shadow people. I can't lie about that. That one's pretty cool. How did the village catch on fire? I think just naturally through attacks. I know it's like, well, Grimm don't spontaneously combust. They don't, at least they don't have any type of attributes when it comes to that. But I just think like fire is just a natural occurrence when it comes to destruction or attacks or stuff like that. It's the best, it's the best thing to destroy with. So the Grimm left the stove on. That's funny. Yeah, well, apparently this is the last character short. To say the last, I was never expecting more. A lot of people just really had their hopes up, and a lot of people had a lot of wishful thinking that Rooster Teeth was going to reveal a Weiss trailer, a Blake trailer, and a Yang trailer. But in my eyes, it's like, this trailer isn't without its purpose. They didn't make this trailer just to make this trailer. And the previous trailers, the colored trailers, weren't trailers just to be trailers either. Those trailers were canonical. Those were events that happened. It's very hard to believe that, like, and if you were to do that for the sake of context, how would Yang and how would Weiss, for example? Weiss is back home and Yang is like depressed at home as well. Them two, the context of their trailers, something like this wouldn't really make sense. The only other person I could think of is Blake, because she's on the run, she's out in the wild, she could have her skirmishes and her fights, be it White Fang members, be it Grimm, whatever. So that's one reason why I just thought it was like, it couldn't have been. And then on top of that, they've been working on this pre-RTX, and then they've been refining it since RTX. So I couldn't imagine Rooster Teeth doing this in the 3 months since, even before RTX, on top of 3 more trailers of the same type of quality. I didn't think it was going to happen. Isn't the red trailer non-canon? No, Monty mentioned that all the trailers are canon to some extent. You can't pinpoint where they occur, like when it comes to the show, because even the first episode, events were happening way before that, like with Cinder and the Fall Maiden and stuff like that, and Blake being a part of the White Fang. So those were all past events. Like the closest one that you could reference to is like Blake on the train, because Adam references that in Volume 3, Yang in Junior's nightclub, because that's again brought up in Volume 3, and you see the same goons that Roman's actually in the yellow trailer at the beginning too, and you can see him like paying off Junior to get his men and stuff like that. Weiss's you can't pinpoint, Ruby's you can't pinpoint, but what does canon mean? Canon means it's part of the overall story. Like, it's not filler. It's not there just to waste time. It's part of the story. It's part of the timeline. It's part of, like, the story progression timeline. So, yeah. Yeah, I have a Kingdom Key. It's in the back. You can see it right there. So, yeah. Good job, Grim Taylor. I appreciate appreciate you putting your mod privileges to good use. So, let's see. Moving on from there. Okay. So this is like the first thing that like really caught my eye when it comes to animation. So these two scenes right here. You have the models of the villagers. You have like the burning buildings and the lighting that really like it's. Oh my gosh, dude, the lighting is so fucking good. Like not just that, but this frame too. The lighting that like is off of like the cobblestones and the shadow of the Grimm like as they're running. It just looks so realistic. Like you can't tell me that level of detail isn't beneficial to RWBY. Like the buildings look a lot more like the buildings actually have like a protruding feature. The light of the fire is is not reflecting, but it's it's beaming off of the buildings and stuff. One thing that I thought was really funny, the smoke. I will say though, the smoke in this trailer kind of reminded me of like cartoony smoke. And that was one thing that I was like, oh, that's interesting. I understand what they're doing with it, but I called it out. I was like, yeah, that looks like cartoon smoke versus like dramatic smoke that fits the tone. But I really like this, and this is kind of like, again, this is kind of, you could kind of see this as being mentioned in the show too, because these would be considered one of the villages that was mentioned in I believe the Kingdoms World of Remnant, like the narrator mentioned Roaming nomads and villagers are not uncommon, yet neither is their tendency to disappear overnight. So this is like one of those instances. This is like a small village that's not within the confines of kingdom walls and protection and barriers, so they are at risk of being attacked by the creatures of Grimm, and it just seems like, you know, they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, you know, everyone's running, everyone's in panic. It's calling more Grimm, it's calling Beowulfs, it's calling Nevermores, it's calling the new Grimm that we're going to talk about. So I think this is a good way of giving context on the outside world, because, again, we've only been in Beacon, in Vale, and very briefly Mountain Glen. We haven't seen the outside world. We don't know what it's like for people who don't live in the kingdoms, what it's like for them to fend for themselves and to fight and survive and stuff like that. And like the World of Remnant mentioned, like, shit like this happens all the time. We're only getting a first glance of it now. So, yeah, I do know about the video that someone posted about like of the leaked footage. Like, someone assumed that Ruby was Summer and that she was going to use her silver eyes. It was something, but I've been seeing that on everybody's like comment section of reaction videos, like mine too. Like, someone was like that. Someone mentioned Harambe. Somebody mentioned like silver eyes, and someone mentioned it's summer. It's summer. But yeah, I get it. Them pixels good though. Yeah, like I again, I just love how it looks. It just fits. It fits the tone. It fits. Like, we all expect an upgrade. Like, Volume 1 to 2, that upgrade was significant. Like, it was the most significant in the show, in my opinion, compared to now. Volumes 2 to 3, the significance was there, but it wasn't as potent as the Volume 1 to 2 jump. Because Volume 1 was very... Like, Volume 1 was, in my opinion, I consider kind of like the rough draft of RWBY. Movement was very stiff. It was very robotic. Facial expressions were way off. Volume 2 upgrade improved in terms of the animation, in terms of facial recognition and, you know, physical expression. Volume 3 capitalized on that even more, with a lot more fluidity when it comes to the fighting scenes, which that's what the whole tournament was about. You know, the theme shift, the story was getting better, and now Volume 4, it's taking all of that and just up-resing it even more. So, yeah. Yeah, Ruby's facial expression, especially in this trailer. So let's get into the next one. So here we see Ruby. We see like a very, you know, very quick look at her costume before, her outfit rather, before she starts fighting. Again, shout out to the trees in the background. Love the shading. I just love how they look. I love the environment. Like, the environment more than anything is very, very much an improvement in terms of, like, it's pleasing on the eyes, because all we've seen is buildings and the school and, you know, Amity Coliseum. We haven't seen the world of Remnant thus far, you know, no pun to the actual World of Remnant segment. So I'm actually I'm just genuinely excited, you know, to actually see the world, because the closest thing we've ever seen to the World of Remnant was in Volume 3, when they showed the people in different parts of the world watching the tournament, and the only thing that we really saw in terms of you know, wildlife was the faunus that were sitting outside of like an RV in the middle of what looked like a savanna. So that's like the closest thing we've ever seen to like the world, and now we're actually getting out there. So that's very exciting as well. So right here is very interesting too. Again, all about attention to detail. Crescent Rose has some, you know, has gone through some battles. It's gone through some fights. It has some like cuts and tears and stuff like that, some scarring, and that's just a product of the fact Ruby's out in the world. She's fighting, she's fending for herself. We don't know, like, again, 6 to 8 months, you have to expect going through some, you know, some Grimm between now and then, and, you know, anything else, be it White Fang, be it, you know, marauders or people out there who are just, you know, bad people. So I kind of liked this attention to detail, and I actually had to, I watched this at half speed, and that's how I was able to pick this up. So there's that, and then we get Ruby. She jumps up on the Grimm and she's flying. Oh my god, dude! The Grimm, the up-res of Grimm is probably the most exciting thing of this entire trailer. The ominous, like, black mist that, you know, that emanates off of them. You have like the wandering eye kind of effect, like of the red light that follows the Grimm as they move. They look way more defined, like the Grimm, like the feathers are more defined, and the particles of Ruby's cape, like with the petals, just looks a lot more appealing, and it looks a lot more pleasing on the eyes, to be completely honest. But yeah, oh, wait, hold on. That Grimm is suing for damage. A moment, please. That was badass. Yeah, and then she just like, she's like, the first time I saw this, I instantly thought like of like a dragon rider, like RWBY's actually taming a Grimm and freaking flying it into battle. And again, I think this is kind of like, it's not necessarily a direct reference to it, but in Volume 1, like how it didn't even explain or show how it happened, but RWBY and Weiss flew into the battle, like flew in on, you know, on their way to get the relics on a Nevermore. So I think that's kind of like a cool, I don't know if this is a reference to that moment, but that's something that I also mentioned. I'm like, holy shit, RWBY has flown on a Grimm before, not as badass, and she actually jumped, leaving Weiss behind. But I think that was super cool. Like, that's something that I noticed. I don't know if it harkens back to that moment, but I thought that was pretty awesome. And then, like, again, it's just so fucking cool. And then we have right here, like the Grimm gets cut in half. You see again the particles. I think you see some blood, like of the Grimm, like once it gets cut in half, because now, like earlier, like in the earliest parts of RWBY, when like during the Red trailer, for example, whenever RWBY cut a Grimm in half, the blood would be represented as flower petals. So now that we're getting into like very dark territory, like the show has a viewer discretion and all of that stuff, I think we're kind of past that form of censorship, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. Like we saw Mercury's bloodied kneecaps and stuff like that. So maybe there was blood in there. I couldn't really freeze frame it to actually capture it at the earliest moment when she sliced it in half. But this was fucking sick. Like, she literally just cut the whole fucking wing of a Nevermore and just like fucking slammed into battle. And I thought that was pretty dope. And then we see her right here as she stands up. We see her full uniform. The petals falling down right after her. Again, shout out to particles and stuff like that. And then we see her face. So right here, she has lips. You can see like a bit of a protrusion of her nose. It's a front face, so if she turns to the side, you would see it better. She has an actual complexion. She looks kind of ghostly white right here, and I think that's just because she's far from the fire, so you can't really see it all that much. But this is like awesome, like the way that she looks. She looks, again, a lot older, a lot more mature. And this is like, it makes me very excited because we even see the rest of Team RWBY at the end of the trailer, so it gets me very excited to know, like, holy shit, eventually we're going to see Sun, we're going to see Neptune, we're going to see, we're going to see Jean, like, we saw the concept art for them, but we're going to see Jean-Pierre, we're going to see, Pierre, oh, Jesus Christ, we're going to see Jean, and Ren and Nora again, and maybe even some instances of, remembrance of Pyrrha or Penny as time goes on. But again, I think this is just super fucking dope, and I love how RWBY's like growing. Like literally, if you put volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, like a front picture of RWBY, it shows the improvements in the development and the growth so much. Because volume 1 through 3 is about a year's worth of time, and then this is another 6 to 8 months. Well, it's a year's worth of like school time, which is usually if the World of Remnant's education system is the same anywhere else, or for the most part. School usually lasts like 9 months or 10 months, then you get like summer vacation, and then school starts back up. So from volume 1, where the school semester started, and then the Vital tournament is at the end of the school's year, and then add another 6 months, you would say like a year and a half has passed at this point. So that's kind of cool that we've seen RWBY actually age and grow up, because Monty mentioned that too. Monty always mentioned that he actually appreciates the fact that he wants his show to resonate with the viewers. He wants his show to grow up with the viewers. And there's a lot of anime out there, like I think one, for example, like Pokemon, for example, like Ash. He's 10 years old now, and he's 10 years old. He was 10 years old when I was 10 years old, and he was 10 years old when I started watching it. And you grow to not relate to the character as much because they're going through the same old in this stasis of never growing up, never aging, never maturing. In that right, and I kind of like how Monty mentioned he would like for like 15-year-old viewers to be watching 15-year-old RWBY, to down the line be 25-year-old viewers watching 25-year-old RWBY. Granted, it's not going to be like a year time skip every volume, but I kind of appreciate the fact that that's where we're going. Like, we'll see our characters grow from students to full-fledged hunters and huntresses, maybe even parents down the line. That'd be fucking awesome, but it's definitely too soon to tell. But I can't deny that I really appreciate the fact that, you know, they're willing to go this far in making that happen, and seeing it right here, seeing Weiss, seeing Yang, seeing Blake. It was very, very exciting. So from here, we get the fucking Grimm. And again, I cannot stress enough how exciting. The Grimm are probably, I would say, other than like the story itself and the world building, I would say the Grimm are the most exciting part of RWBY for me, personally, other than like new characters, new weapons and semblances and stuff like that. The concept of the Grimm is something that like has been expressed since the first episode, like the origin of mankind and the creatures of Grimm being their, you know, their number one, you know, threat. And we've seen the Grimm in all forms and fashions. We've seen them very, you know, we've seen baby type of Grimm, we've seen lesser Grimm, we've seen alpha Grimm, and it seems like, to me, the Grimm that we've seen, so here's the best way that I can put it. All right. The Grimm that we see in, like, around Beacon and around Civilization are kind of like the fodder Grimm. And I kind of see those Grimm kind of like pigeons, for example, like city pigeons. I personally think like city pigeons are like the dumbest of birds. I really think like they literally just walk around the city like picking up scraps or whatever. They're not as elegant, they're not as honed in terms of hunting as other birds and stuff like that. I feel like they're just at the bottom of the tier when it comes to birds, and, you know, birds out there that actually like survive and hunt and stuff like that. And then like you go from city birds in like a civilization area, and you go more rural, you go more out in the wild, out in the real world, and you have birds that will like fucking kill you in an instant or whatever. I think that's kind of like the same. I think the further you get from Civilization, the more prevalent, the more deadly, the more smarter, the more, you know, just generally a bigger threat of Grimm as you go further out. These Grimm all have bones on top of that. There are some Grimm in the earlier volumes that didn't have bones, which would mean that they haven't lived that long. They're very primal. They go based on instinct. They don't think before they act. They don't rationalize. They're not strategic in any sense of the word. And I think, and again, I think that's a way of analyzing the fact that maybe that's based on the surroundings. Grimm around around a safe haven like Beacon aren't really going to do much in terms of, you know, fighting and actually coming out of a fight alive. I think that's why the Goliaths are so, like, the Goliaths are fine being near the city, because they know, like, hey, if anyone comes at us, we can kill them, but then eventually they'll come back at us and kill us. So, the Goliaths, I would say, like, are the most oldest or the most ancient of Grimm that we've seen. Maybe, because this next Grimm that, you know, the Grimm that was shown in the trailer, I have a lot to talk about with him. Oh my god, I have a lot to talk about. He gave me, like, newfound hope in a lot that I would like to look into and see of Grimm in the future, and I really hope Rooster Teeth capitalizes on, you know, keeping the standards really high when it comes to the Grimm in, you know, outside world. So the revamp of the Grimm, again, the aura, you know, the black mist that comes off of them, the wandering eye lighting effect that you see right here, the bone structure, the fighting style, the strategy and the tactic that comes off of like these fights. RWBY seems to have a knack for just bodying Grimm, and I think that's because, like, again, that's akin to her fairy tale, Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. So I think, like, naturally she just deals a lot better with Beowulfs, like she did in her original trailer. Again, akin to this one, the fact that she's fighting Beowulfs again. I really appreciate that as well. Let's see. I'm going to give some time to the chat. Oh, the Grim Dragon. Well, that's the thing. The Grim Dragon seems more ancient. The Grim Dragon might be one of the first Grimm, and I only say that because that Grim Dragon could be a link to how the Grimm originate, because that Grimm creates more Grimm, and we don't know how the Grimm if they procreate, if they're created. You know, like if that Grim Dragon is one of many other ancient Grimm that create more Grimms, you know, subsequently. We don't know anything like that. So I kind of categorize the Grim Dragon in a class all its own. And on top of the fact that Grimm, again, I don't know the relationship of it, if that Grimm is related or connected in any way to Salem and by proxy to Cinder, because Cinder was talking to it at the end of Volume 3. She was like, this is your home now. And the Grimm was just like, just chilling there, like, how are you able to talk to this Grimm? Why isn't this Grimm attacking you? You're a human, aren't you? You know, the Grimm attack humans in their creations. So it's very, 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 it's like, we have too many questions. We don't have enough to make an educated assumption or an educated guess. But I would like to think that Salem kind of influences Cinder in a way to where the Grimm, if they come from Cinder, I mean, if the Grimm come from Salem, you know, give Cinder a free pass. Any type of Grimm designs you would like to see? Absolutely. I think I would like to see, like, I really like the humanoid type of Grimm. And the Berengal Grimm, which is the Gorilla Grimm that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, that Grimm kind of gave me faith in maybe, and this is very far-fetched, this is very out there, but this is the most wishful thinking you'll probably ever see of me. So I really want Grimm who can go up against like a full-fledged huntsman or huntress one-on-one and have like a very likely chance of killing them. I want Grimm who can think like humans. I want Grimm. It's not too okay. So let me give you my rationale for thinking that, because you would probably think, well, where do you base this off of? To me, Salem and the Grimm themselves, for any gamers out there, they really, and I would not be surprised at all if they were inspired or a reference to the Locust from Gears of War. The Locust kind of had a hierarchy. You had Queen Mira, you had General Ram, you had the I think it was the priest or no, he was like the head of the military division. You had Scourge, and then you had all of these other type of Locusts. You had the Grenadiers, you had the Cantus, you had the Theron Guards, you had the Berserkers, you had the drones. Like, and that's what I want the Grimm to be. I want Grimm who follow like a standard of like a hierarchy system, a chain of command that, you know, these other Grimm are kind of like the drone Grimm, like the ones that just run into battle and just instantly get bodied. And then you have more of like the ones that actually follow a plan and plan together. You have like the Savage Cantus or the Theron Guards who protect the Queen, or like Ram and Scourge who were like the left and right hand of Queen Mira. So that's literally what I'm thinking of. And then on top of that, the Locust could speak human language. Like the Locust not only planned and thought like humans, but they actually spoke the language. I don't know if Salem is a human turned Grimm, or if it's a Grimm that's evolved to the point of human level, or if it's like a human Grimm hybrid. But I really would want there to be something that kind of referenced, not referenced, but something that kind of linked or gave us like a little tidbit of information that's like, eventually, personally, I just want Grimm that are able to think like humans, plan like humans, fight like them, like huntsmen and huntresses, I mean. Maybe even learn the language, speak the language amongst each other, amongst humans. I think that would just make them a lot more formidable, a lot more terrifying, because even like we got the hints of these Grimm, but at the end of the day, I feel like other than Salem, I think the biggest struggle for mankind are other humans, like Cinder, like Emerald, like Mercury, like people out there who have what it takes to fight other humans. And I feel like the Grimm are just are just tacked on as another thing to worry about, even though they are the greatest threat to mankind. Katsuo, how's it going? I hope I pronounced that right. Katsuo. How's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. How powerful do you think Salem is? Honestly, to be completely honest, we've only seen her. We've only heard a few lines. I don't think anyone can come up with any type of anything. Theory, speculation. I guess we can assume she's strong. She's going after Ozpin, and her and Ozpin clearly have history. They had a dialogue in the first episode that kind of made reference back to the finale of Volume 3. And if she's going against Ozpin, and Ozpin went up against Cinder, and Cinder was a Fall Maiden, and he didn't die, then that means her and Ozpin are like top tier, above Huntsman, above, like they're like, I would consider like God tier at this point. and that's based on assumption that the fact that if she's in a war with Ozpin, that means she can hold her own against him. And his mystique says a lot about how strong he could be. So, and again, the fact that he went up against a maiden, literally told Pyrrha, "You'll only get in the way." like that's very, very confident. That's a lot of confidence to say if you really think you can hold your own. So, what kind of Grim would I like to see? I know that they mentioned some things like aquatic Grim. They didn't tease it or anything at RTX, but they did mention like, hey, someone asked the question, are we going to see aquatic Grim? And I think the panel's response was, watch Volume 4. I think, again, that could be like, hey, we have aquatic Grim, and if you watch Volume 4, you'll see them. Or that's a candid response to any type of spoiler territory questions. I forgot what somebody else asked. There was a bunch of people that literally went up in line to ask spoiler questions thinking they were going to get answered or trying to answer, and I was just like, that's a waste of a question. But somebody else asked a spoiler question, and they were like, stay tuned, keep watching to find out. So I think that was just more of like a candid response, but at the same time, it could be like, we still haven't seen Miles' favorite Grim, and for anyone who's keeping count, every volume has revealed at least 2 new Grim. We obviously got the basic Grim from Volume 1. We got the Beowulf, the Ursa, the King Taiji-2, the Nevermore, the Deathstalker. Volume 2, we got and then the Borbatusk as well in Volume 1. Volume 2, we got the Creeper Grim, and shit, what other Grim did we get? I know we got 2 Grim in that. We got the Creeper Grim, and what's the other Grim we got in Volume 2? Help me out, guys. I know there was 2 Grim that were introduced in Volume, I think so, at least. The Goliath, yes, thank you so much. Yes, so we got the Goliath and we got the Creeper Grim in Volume 2, and then Volume 3 we got the Dragon and the Griffins. So Volume 4 we have a Berengal Grim already, which is a Gorilla Grim, so we might see more of that. That one seemed more advanced than the others, though. So, yeah, so, oh, wow, so the delay of there's a really long delay when it comes to the live stream. I think it's maybe like a 20-second delay. But yeah, so yeah, in general, I'm just really hoping we see more Grim. Like I said, I flipped my shit when they revealed the World of Remnant talking about Grim, because I wanted to see more Grim. When we got to see the Creeper Grim, I didn't know the names of them until Volume 3, to be honest, just because they never mentioned it in the show. So yeah, there's that. But ultimately, I love what they're doing with the Grim, and I'm looking forward to more of them. And that's another one of that. RWBY right here, I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw this, I thought she was going to activate something with her eyes. It seems maybe she doesn't really know how to tap into her Silver Eye power. And that's expected, because initially, like, the initial awakening of her eyes was just by the fact of all the emotional trauma that she dealt with, and that kind of forced them to awaken. It wasn't really based on, like, she didn't have any control over it, and maybe she'll have to go through that a bit more before she can tap into the power willingly. And that is very depressing, because then that means she's going to have to go through more loss, more, depression, more hard times and struggles, hopefully not at the loss of anybody on her new team. Though there is a theory out there by a friend of mine, Zoronic Kiba. He mentioned, he did a theory video that everyone in Team Juniper is going to die, and that is in a way inspired by their character inspirations, like Thor, Joan of Arc, Mulan, and Achilles all died in their original, in their own stories. And Pyrrha died as a result of how Achilles died. She got shot in the arrow. She got shot in the Achilles tendon with an arrow, and then Cinder just finished her off. Cinder incinerated her. So, I'm wondering if their deaths are going to be triggered by, or in any way, shape, or form from their character inspirations, because we know that, well, Joan of Arc, for those of you who don't know, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in part by the Bishop of Winchester, which that's who Cardin Winchester is based off of. She was also burned at the stake, so from that we can maybe assume that either Cardin or Cinder will have a hand in how Jean dies. Thor was killed by a snake, and the only other snakes that we know of in the World of Remnant or the RWBY universe is the King Taiji-2 Grim. And then Mulan ended up becoming a concubine, which is like a sex slave or whatever, in her story. So she ended up committing suicide. So I can't imagine Ren doing that. First off, I can't. If anything, I can picture either Ren or Nora dying for the other person to protect them. Jean might die going if the guilt and the depression gets to him to that point. I could see him trying to avenge Pyrrha by fighting Cinder and dying, but I don't think that it's really. But then again, like, these characters are supposed to be loosely based off of their character inspirations. You're not supposed to just take their inspiration and force it into the character. But at the same time, because that's what happened to Pyrrha, that's the only thing that I can kind of assume. Maybe for Team Juniper, not for anybody else, obviously. Do you think Blake is in Vacuo? I think... Hold on. Didn't Adam say, like, it's time I return to Mistral? Or did he say Vacuo? I remember after the whole fight, when he came back to the White Fang camp, Blake, at that point, the trailer had already happened. The black trailer had already happened. She left off the train. She ran away, whatever. And the lieutenant was like, hold on, let me see. He's like, I swear it, sir. It's like, I swear we'll find her, sir. I swear on my life. Forget it. It's time I return to... I can't think of what he said. Oh, he did say Mistral. Okay, so Mistral is where I think she might be heading. Why would Adam go back to Mistral? Maybe that is the base of operations for the White Fang. Maybe that's, because so far we've ever seen the White Fang in the Emerald, Forever Falls. We saw the Forever Falls in the trailer. We saw Forever Falls, which is where their little camp hideout was in Volume 3. But I think that was, again, just a base of operations to kind of like do some expeditions to spread their revolution. So their base of operation might be in Mistral, which is, oh wow, I just realized Haven is the school. No, I'm sorry. I sound like an idiot. Mistral is the continent, or the kingdom, rather, and then Haven must be the city. And the name of the school as well. I think that's the only thing that really confuses me. I don't know what's the continent, what's the school, what's the city. So, I know Mistral is... Yeah, because you have Atlas, Vacuo, Vale, and Mistral. Those are the kingdoms. Those are like the area that, has civilization and stuff like that. The continents, I don't even know if the continents have names. Like, I know you have like Menagerie and stuff like that. And then you have the schools, which would be Shade, Beacon, Haven, and again Atlas, because Atlas, the kingdom, school, and military are one. So if that's the case, then that means that RWBY, if Adam ends up going back to Mistral and Blake goes after him, which would be Mistral, Haven is located in Mistral, and Crow mentioned, he was like, that's a long walk. The enemy's trail leads all the way back to Haven, which is in Mistral. So RWBY might come across Blake before anybody else. I just put that together now, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, so we might see Blake might be one of the first people that teams up, comes back together with one of her teammates. Oh yeah, Atlas is a part of Mantle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember the board game. And since Atlas is a part of Mantle, my repair time only lasts one turn. All right. So moving on from that, because I tend to go off the deep end. I tend to stray off in my own thoughts. So here we have kind of like a cool type of visual effect that kind of, in a way, I think this is like more of like a flashy representation of RWBY's speed. Throughout this entire trailer, she was bouncing all over the place, and she has done something like this in the past. Volume 2, the food fight, she did like that swirly cape vortex tornado move that used her speed to slam all of Team Juniper and all the food on the wall. And she has done like minor versions of this in Volume 3 when she jumped out of the airship to go and use the locker to propel herself to the airship that Roman was on. She did kind of like almost like a double jump where she swirled and went back to the Colosseum, and then again she used that type of swirl move when Weiss used her glyphs for her to scale the tower to try to reach Pyrrha in time. So this is like a visual cue, I think, of her semblance, and I think her semblance has been upgrading in the last in the 6 to 8 months since Volume 3, and we've seen slight upgrades of this. Like, we know Pyrrha was able to use polarity since Volume 1, and she used it on Jean's shield. And then we saw it again, like in a more grander scale, when she used it to control all of the soda cans during the food fight. And then we saw it again, like at a much grander scale, when she used it against Penny during Emerald's Illusion. So I think this is, again, kind of the trailer is also giving us not just a visual expectation for the show, but also like, hey, this is what RWBY's been up to. She's been upgrading, I think, more of her semblance than anything else. She still, uses Crescent Rose. She still has like a lot of, in a way, she wasn't really using the momentum of her scythe like she used to. Again, that could just be the fact that this is like a different kind of environment, a different kind of fight. Maybe she's more confident in herself to actually use Crescent Rose versus the momentum and anything like that. So, that could be a factor. You gotta go, internet's too slow. Oh, okay, HCK numbers. The stream will be uploaded after I finish streaming, so if anything, you can catch up where you last left off. And I do apologize for that. It might be my end, it might be your end, it could be something between the connections in general. But I'm glad you stuck around for as long as you did, and you have a good one. How huge do you think the world of Remnant, the RWBY universe is? Can't really say, honestly. We've only seen the school. We've only seen the school, and we're only just getting out now, so there's no way to really tell. Other than the world map, there's no way to really draw the level of scale that the world of Remnant really is. Not to mention if you're able to travel in space, because it seems like dust needs like oxygen or something like that, because dust is kind of restricted to the world of Remnant. And if the moon is a factor, if the moon was like a planet, or if there was life on the moon, or if something happened, like a battle or something like that, or if there was like interstellar kind of concepts, because they did mention space travel. The moon is cracked for a reason. It all just bears more questions of, is Remnant all that there is? Is there more to it? Was Salem even on Remnant? Because she looked like she was in a different kind of dimension in a way. Granted, the moon was still visible from where she was, so she might be on the dark side of the moon, or the part of the moon that cracked, or she could just be in a very dark part of Remnant again, like her domain, if you will. So, space grim in space. Where do you hope the new season will lead up to? Wait, hold on. Let me repeat that. Where do you hope the new season will lead up to? Okay, I read that right. I just want to see more of the world. I think we've seen enough of Beacon, and not necessarily Vale, but if Beacon's all Vale has to offer, the rest of the world looks like this. Between kingdoms, I would think the rest of the world looks like this. Looks like villages and nomads, and dirt roads and stuff like that, and wooded areas, and not that much civilization between the safe havens. So I don't think that there's much to tell in between the areas between kingdoms. But I very much want to be able to see, and that's what I mentioned too. I think in Volume 2 I mentioned this. I mentioned that I want more world exploration. I want to see what Haven looks like in Atlas, and I want to see, Mistral, and all of these other places that have a different form of culture, have a different, maybe people sound different, maybe they have different accents where they live. From what we also saw in Volume 2, I believe, during Ozpin's speech, everyone dresses differently. You have people who, you have Team RWBY. They're all individual in their own right. The people from Vacuo, from where Sun's from, they really they dress down, they wear whatever kind of casual street clothes that they wear. Neptune's from Mistral, and I think Mistral's a lot more formal and very high class and presentable. And then you have Atlas, who's very strict, militant. They have uniforms. I feel like they go by a specific dress code in a way. So I just want to be able to see that. I want more diversity. I don't want to just see the same kids wearing the same uniforms in school. Now that we're out of school, we don't have to worry about looking at school uniforms or any other stuff like that, or books or classes. Like, we're actually going to get out into the world. And I kind of like that too. That was another thing that I really liked about Harry Potter. Like, the first couple of books were focused on the school, and then it wasn't until later that you went to like Hogsmeade, or you went to the World Cup, stadium, or you went to, Godric's Hollow or stuff like that. You explored more of the Wizarding World, even though the focus of the Wizarding World was the Hogwarts. Like, you saw Diagon Alley, you saw Nocturne Alley, you got to see all these other aspects of the world, even though the focus was the school. And I did talk to people. I did my Patreon Skype call yesterday, and my friend Jackson, he mentioned that, like, he thinks that in a way, having RWBY set in a school setting initially was kind of restricting. It kind of hindered the growth of the world of Remnant. Like, and he was wondering for the longest time, like, how they were going to go beyond that. How are you going to make the school not important when that's what we were brought into? So, let's see. Do you think RWBY will get a boyfriend? Not for a very, 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 very long time, if ever, to be honest. Cinder Autumn. Hey, what's up, Brian? How's it going, dude? Thanks for joining. How's it going, dude? How's work? Do you think Emerald will betray Cinder? Honestly, I feel like Cinder could. I feel like Emerald has the whole fucking world in her hands. Like, her semblance is so fucking broken. But I think it's because Cinder saved her. I feel like, not really Stockholm Syndrome, but I think it's because, like, Emerald literally owes Cinder her life. She was living on the streets. We don't even know if she would have survived if it wasn't for Cinder. And Cinder's like, hey, I have a way that you can repay me. Come along with me with my plan. I can use you for your semblance. I think, if anything, maybe she'll have a form of redemption, maybe eventually, because she did have some remorse when it came to, the very end of Volume 3. Mercury was, like, reveling in it because he's already lived a very broken lifestyle, so I feel like he's just embraced it. But yeah. So, let's see, let's get back to this. So, like I said, I think this is more of like a representation of, like, the speed semblance of RWBY. Like, RWBY's always been very expressive, like, of her speed. In, like I mentioned, various instances, like Volume 2, the food fight, Volume 3, when she was going to the airship, and then again when she was trying to scale the tower. We've always seen this, and I think this is more of like a flashy exaggeration of the fact that her semblance is improving. And then she's fighting Grimm. I like the choreography. It wasn't, obviously, you can't really bat an eye at the fact that the quality of the choreography or whatever isn't on the scale of Monty, just because Monty was very, 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 like, ridiculous when it came to the fighting scenes. But these are very much an improvement of the fact that it's still up to my standards. Like, and that's the same thing too. Like, I'll be the first to say this: the fighting is the last thing that I care about when it came to RWBY. I understand that the trailers are what showed off the action and the combat, and that's what got everyone excited. And they even mentioned, when RWBY was premiering, they were like, hey, we love the fact that the fans like the fighting and stuff like that, but that's not the focus. You won't be seeing that often. You'll see that few and far between. But we have a world to build. We have a story to tell. We have characters that, we're going to introduce that we hope you guys like. And that's what sold me. Like, after the fighting, the fighting was awesome, and the fighting was always, like, something to get hyped over. But I think after Episode 8, once I realized the potential that the fight scenes had on, like, the excitement and the show and the context, and then, Episode 16 of Volume 1, like, seeing Sun, seeing his gunchucks was, like, the most hyped thing ever. Volume 2 and then Volume 3. The fighting is the last thing that I really care about, to be completely honest. And I know that, for the most part, it is the bread and butter of the show. It is, like, what a lot of people linger on and talk about the most, aside from, plot progression and stuff like that. But I do think that, I liked it, and a lot of people have different opinions, and, I respect a lot of other people's opinions. But for me, myself, the fighting is very much a good addition, and I really liked how it turned out. So here we have her fighting a bunch of Beowulfs. We see RWBY at a different angle. Again, I love the style. I love the fact that she doesn't look like a ghost. She has a nose and all that other stuff. Obviously, it's a still frame, but I couldn't stop looking at the flames in the background. Like, the flames just were a good touch, and I like how they were animated. And the lighting actually added to the the experience as well. So from there, and then again, this whole area, she's just doing her fighting. So I added this as a joke. I added this because I saw this on I saw this on Twitter, and I decided to screen cap it because somebody screened this and they were like, "My life," and it was this. And I was like, I definitely have to save this and use this for any time my life is defined as this moment, so I can just tweet this. But this was so funny. But the implications of, not the implications, but the this is very important, and this has to do with, again, going back to the Grimm. I just went on my spiel. I really feel like the Grimm have the potential to be on the same caliber as the Locusts from Gears of War in terms of their intellect, in terms of their strategy, in terms of their hierarchy system, their chain of command. Being able to maybe hopefully speak like humans, think like humans, go toe-to-toe 1v1 with a human, and that human potentially dies. Huntsmen and huntresses, I'm just going to be using humans and huntsmen and huntresses. I'm going to be using those terms interchangeably. But this is exciting as fuck. We have a Grimm that's using its environment to its advantage, like hitting RWBY and having her on her guard, like, oh shit, I'm getting bricks and rocks thrown at me. It just shows the level of intellect, the level of strategy, the level of tactical cunning that these Grimm have. Like, this Grimm is thinking, my buddies are down there fighting. Let me get up. Let me get a vantage point. Let me start throwing shit. Like, and it's so exciting to know that because these Grimm weren't always like that. We've never seen the Grimm like this. We always thought that they went on instinct, and we were told, yeah, World of Remnants, yeah, Grimm, they survive longer through battles, they become smarter, they learn from their mistakes, they have better chances of survival in the future, all that stuff. But to actually see it animated is a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be. And this is, like, again, a very exciting indication that the Grimm become more prevalent, become more smarter, become more dangerous, and more of a threat the further you get away from civilization. And I think that's because they own, quote unquote, they own so much of the world of Remnant that now it's kind of like they run things out there, like, and they've lived long enough and they've experienced enough to where they're like, okay, we know a thing or two about the world. So if anyone else goes out in the real world, if they're not protected, if they're not, if they're running nomad or village or whatever, they're going to get wrecked. So, and it turns out RWBY was the wrong person to mess with because she's trained for this her whole life. So again, super excited about just everything about these Grimm. Again, throwing boulders, and this right here, again, I think this is just a flashy expression of RWBY's speed, of her being able to get from the ground behind the Grimm. And no, I don't think she shadow cloned herself. No, I don't think she split her being into 3 parts. It's just for flair, it's just for style, and it's just an expression of her speed semblance. And I genuinely think that that's fucking awesome. For any of you guys who played, what's it called? Infamous Second Son. There's a character in the game, the main character, his name's Delsin Rowe. In that game, characters have like different types of abilities, and his ability is smoke or combustion. He's able to turn his body into smoke and vent through things, or disapparate his body into smoke and channel, and phase through stuff. And this is what it reminded me of. I don't know if that is akin to that, but I that's the first thing I thought when I saw that. I thought Delsin Rowe from Infamous Second Son. After image. That'd be pretty dope. Fang over... Oh my god, really? Fang over Fang? That would be so dope, dude. That'd be so awesome. Yango... Oh my fucking god. That lucky son of a... Get the fuck out of here. He said Yang over Yang. That is hilarious. Oh, man. Is that Bumblebee on the bottom corner? No, I think that's just like a broken window or something, like panned off to the side. Do you think the Bumblebee ship will sail? Again, I don't do much in terms of really giving out an opinion on shippings. I understand where ships come from. I didn't even know what shipping was until RWBY. I'll be dead ass. I'll be completely honest. I did not know what shippings were until RWBY. I remember asking somebody, I was like, what does ship mean? Like, why do I keep seeing that? And that was after Volume 1. And someone was like, ship, it's short for relationship, or characters that you think would go good in a would have like a really good relationship, be it canon or non-canon. So RWBY is the first place that I ever heard of ships. And I've been watching anime my whole life. So based on the fact that I've been an anime fan my whole life and ships were never a thing to me, I never cared about them. Just because they happen in RWBY, I still don't necessarily care about them. Obviously, I can sniff out like a ship if it is blatant. Like Arcos was blatant. Black Sun seems blatantly obvious that is going to be something. Neptune and Weiss could be something. I feel like that's a likely possibility. Team Sloth, Team Nora. Team Renora, Ren and Nora being a thing. Like that's a given. I feel like Nora herself will make it a thing, make it a point to make it happen before the end of the series, especially since how it's expressed in Chibi. But yeah, I tend to just stay away from ships, especially since when it comes to the RWBY fandom, it tends to bring out the worst in some people who take it very, very seriously. And I don't like stepping on toes. I don't really like getting into anything kind of controversial. That's also the reason why I don't really express myself when it comes to theories, because more times than not, the fandom is very, 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 very notorious for wanting to really shoot other people's theories down, no matter how outlandish they might be. I understand everyone kind of has that mindset where they feel like they're onto something, or that they want to take pride in maybe being on the level of being on the same wavelength of thought process as the writers or as Monty or whatever. But I tend to just stay away from all that at the end of the day, just because to me, I care about canon. I care about definitive, like what is, not what could be. So that's just me. Not to say I don't appreciate. I appreciate the fuck out of people who put that. I love the names of the ships more than anything. Again, like I mentioned, Silence is Golden was one of the coolest ones I ever heard. That one's Neo and Yang, because Yang gold, and Silence because Neo never talks. But I think that's awesome. Who do you think are scrubs in RWBY? Definitely Team Cardinal. I don't know how they're still. I don't know how. You didn't see the rest of his teammates during the Battle of Beacon, but Cardin was there, and I was really surprised to see him. I thought he was just going to be fodder at that point, like you would never see him again. But it was actually really refreshing to see him and see him fighting and defending the school and stuff like that, defending the city rather. But his team is really basic as fuck. Like they don't have that flair, they don't have that style to them. Maybe they don't need it. Maybe they're more of like the lower tier to show that you don't need all the flashiness and stuff like that to get into Beacon. I would say, because we haven't seen any of their semblances, none of their weapons really resemble guns, besides maybe Russell's and Dove. But then again, Cardin has like explosive dust maybe in his mace, and then Skylark just has like a giant halberd. So they as individuals, I can see Jean being just as good, if not better than them on his own. Even the fact that he doesn't have a flashy, weapon set, and he doesn't have a semblance yet. So Cardinal is shit. No, Cardin really grew on me eventually, just because he grew on me almost instantaneously afterwards, because of the fact that he is in many cases an asset to Jean's development, the bully arc. And that's what led me to really appreciate and resonate a lot with Jean, because I used to get bullied a lot when I was in middle school, and then early high school, like freshman year and stuff like that. So I understand what it's like to be Jean, to be not confident, not believe in yourself, and to just deal with other people's shit. And Cardin kind of resonated with that too, with being a representation of those bullies that I dealt with. But at the same time, there are a lot of people like John stood up for himself and defended and protected Cardin, and Cardin like respected him for it. And a lot of people that I wasn't really friends with or gave me a lot of shit when I was younger, now we're cool. And in a way, I don't hold grudges. I don't see it as, well, fuck you because you were an asshole to me when we were 10. I see it as, you know, you were an asshole. You know, you were you, whatever. We're older now, we're mature, we know from our mistakes. Let's start over as actual people. So, I very much appreciate Cardin for that. Granted, the fact that I can always remember how much of an asshole he was. The entire team is made up of noobs. Let's see. Yeah, no more redheads dying. So let's see. We have Penny, Torchwick, and Pyrrha, who have died. We have, who's on the chopping block next? We have Scarlet, we have Nora, we have, who else has red hair? Scarlet, Nora. Ruby has black hair with red tips, so that doesn't count. I'm not sure who else has red hair. I'm pretty sure Adam, yep, Adam has red hair. Ozpin. Oh man, Neon Cat, she has red hair. Fox, oh my fucking god, dude, mad redheads. Yeah, holy shit. Freelancer Emma, bye chat, gotta go do homework. Homework's a bitch, but thanks for stopping by, I appreciate it. And I hope that you're willing to check these out. You know, if you can come back once the stream is done, you can catch up. How long has the stream been going on for, actually? Let me see. This stream has been going on for an hour and a half. So I've been rambling for an hour and a half, and I still haven't gotten into like the more nitty-gritty aspects of the trailer. So we're gonna continue. So again, more flare. I kind of liked this scene because it kind of like all of her cape and whatever is coming back into her, into form. But I kind of liked how her hood kind of like covered her face, and then she just freaking shot the Grim in the back of the head, bounced off of the Nevermore back onto the ground, and then we see this motherfucker right here. Oh my god. This Grim just puts everything that I've been hoping for the Grim into the best fucking minute and a half that we had of him. No, I'm already gonna say it right now, don't go off with the Harambe stuff. I understand like it's a meme, it's funny, blah blah blah, but I don't want that to like ruin the chat, please. So I will leave it off at that. And mods, if you guys can, just make sure you monitor the chat if people, you know, get out of hand. But yeah. So, and there is a delay, so there's gonna be some people that are gonna, you know, it's gonna take a while for them to get the answer. But yeah, so this fucking Grim, dude, it's a humanoid Grim. So that's kind of like the closest thing that I'm looking for when it comes to Grim that fight on the same level of humans. It's a gorilla, so it's kind of the closest thing that we have. No, Nathan, don't be sorry. You guys, don't be sorry. I'm not saying it like, stop doing that, you guys are bad. I'm just saying, like, I understand. They're expected. Like, the Harambe jokes and stuff like that are expected. If you guys watched my reaction, I had the hashtag DOFH. So, you know, I'm guilty of that too. But because this is live, I want the chat to be more open for general talks of the trailer. So yeah. But anyways, the Gorilla Grim is very, 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 very exciting for me. Like I said, it's humanoid. It's lived a very, very, very long time. It has bone structure. It put up a fucking awesome fucking fight, and I'm gonna get into that right now. Looks dope as shit. Again, the wandering eye lighting effect. It has battle scars and stuff like that. And just to give you guys some further context for those of you who don't know, and I'm gonna buff out this image. I'm going to enlarge this image right here so you guys can see it a bit better. You guys can still hear my voice. But this is the Beringil Grim. This is, he was revealed at RTX. He is fucking awesome. It has like a scale of how big the gorilla is supposed to be as opposed to RWBY, which is pretty cool. He has, like they went, into his whole structure. He's got bone plate, like kind of like bone plating, not even just random bones. Like these bones kind of go a bit further in protecting him. At the side, right on the side, you can see like they have certain text that he has burned skin. So like you see the burns on his face, for example, and like on his upper shoulder. He has very thick skin as well, so that adds to him being more durable than any other kind of Grimm that we've seen. And you can see through the skin, and you can see like an inner red. Now, I don't know if that's the life source or the life energy of Grimm. I highly doubt Grimm are, warm or cold-blooded. I'm pretty sure they don't even have blood in them. But maybe that's the power source, if you will, that gives them life or gives them creation or whatever. And then if you see up here too, you can see that there's it has a symbol on his back. There's a symbol on the Grimm's back. Now, that's very, very important because there are a bunch of Grimm that kind of have that. Oh my God, you just ate chili knox? I'm so jealous. Yeah, it's a silverback gorilla. And I think Carrie mentioned that Berengal is kind of like, it refers to silverback from Aladdin, I want to say. I could be absolutely wrong about that, but there is some type of root that derives from a gorilla of some sort from Aladdin. I could be wrong. Do not quote me on that. But yeah, so like it has this symbol on its back. Hold on, let me see if I can get another image up. So so before I get into that, it's battle scarred. It has, again, the burns on the side of its face and its shoulder. It's got like scars and stuff like that on its armor plating. If you keep going, it's missing a fucking eye, and it's got like a crack on the top side of its face. So this Grimm has been through more than one skirmish in its lifetime. And I think that that already gives, evidence that, this Grimm, for example, has probably fought Huntsman, it's probably killed Huntsman, and, Ruby in its eyes in its eye is no different. I was going to say in its eyes, but it's missing one. I promise I was not trying to do a pun there. But yeah, so this Grimm is very, very intelligent. It's lived a really long time. It knows its way around a fight. It gives Ruby shit during this entire fight, and that was the most exciting thing. Ruby isn't even a full-fledged huntress yet, and she's able to deal with this thing. So it's still kind of odd to know that even then this Grimm wasn't that strong, because any other huntsman like Crow or somebody like that could have probably killed this thing in an instant. But it gives me faith. It really gives me a lot of faith to hope and plead and really, 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 really want there to be a chance that you'll have Grimm out there that can just body someone in 2 seconds. It thinks. It's so fucking smart. It's so intelligent. And it goes through its fight. Ruby hits it with the scythe. Its skin is really thick. On top of the fact that it has bones, doesn't do anything. Ruby gets one of these. She gets really scared. Again, awesome facial expression. It grabs her by the face, fucking punches her. She goes flying, and that's where the fight kind of takes off of like, oh shit, Ruby. He's not a Beowulf. He's not like this easy type of Grimm that you can just attack and just deal with. Like, you actually have to think and plan. So I was super excited to just get more and more of this, and then you see the symbol on his back again. Now, I don't know if this symbol has anything to do with Salem. I know Salem has. I don't know if I didn't go back to check, but I know Salem has like iconography on her cape that's similar to the iconography on the glove that Cinder was wearing in Volume 3, Chapter 7, when she took Amber's powers. You also see a similar kind of design, if you will, like a red marking on this Grimm. You see it on any kind of Grimm that has bone structure. So you see it on this Grimm, you see it on the Deathstalker, I think on the King Taijitu, I'm not too sure about them. You see it on the Ursa, you see it on the, who else? I think you see it on some Beowulfs in this one actually. I think the earlier Beowulfs, I'm not entirely sure. But you see it on them too. I know you see like the red, like you see red linings, not exactly like an actual definitive icon or mark. So this could be maybe like, not a birthright, but it could be like, it's kind of weird to say. Maybe like, I don't know the word that I'm trying to find. I'll just use the icon, or like a stamp, a branding, like basically, yeah, that's what I meant. So it's like a branding that could reference to where it came from or who it was created from, or maybe Salem has this type of semblance or ability to to create the Grimm, leave her branding, and just know that, hey, that's one of mine or whatever. And I honestly am wondering if Salem is the only one of her kind too. So he's made from aura. That'd be pretty cool. We don't know for sure, but that is pretty awesome. Older Grimm have it. Yeah, like Grimm that basically have bone structure will have it. Maybe the brands are badges. Salem Squad. Did he dab? No, I'd never dab. Don't get it. A hierarchy of Grimm. Yeah, like a hierarchy. Like if you play Gears of War, like Locust, like Salem would be the queen, and then if the Grimm are as prevalent or as advanced as I'm hoping, maybe you'll have she'll have a right hand man Grimm, like a Grimm of hers that's her right hand that manages all of the other Grimm beneath them. Like you have also like a chain of command too. Maybe you'll have a Grimm that, I don't know, like, because like the Locusts are different because the Locusts kind of, it never really explained like the Grimm, like the Locusts ever having like a sense of feral, like a feral state or a primal state that they actually evolved. It was almost like the Locusts were always just there, always just doing. I didn't really delve too deep into the Locusts beyond the 3 games. But yeah, I would think that that'd be fucking awesome to have like a queen, a general, a chain of command, like what's it called? Like a chief operator or something like that. Like obviously this is like more technical stuff that humans would understand, but if the Grimm were to mimic that chain of command that the humans follow, they'd be more formidable. Like if they had like an army of their own, stuff like that. So yeah, and then they like ride into battle. They ride into battle on Goliaths and they just take forever, and that reminds me of Red vs. Blue, because I just finished season 3, and it's like for any of you guys who didn't watch, spoilers. It's just there's actually I won't really spoil anything, but there's a particular moment where there's an invasion of an army, and the army moves so slow that it would take them 24 hours to win the war. So I thought that was really, really funny how that works, and that would be kind of like the same thing. Like the Goliaths are really strong and powerful, but whenever we've seen like Grimm like flooding into a place, the Goliaths are always the slowest ones, just taking their time. So hey, what's up, Mr. Oathflame? How's it going, dude? I seen you in the chat. You've been in here throughout, so how's it going? Where do you think Cinder would be on the chain of command? Or not even the chain of command, like literally like a game of chess. Like Cinder's the queen. I'm not Cinder. Salem is the queen, and I understand like all they talk about are pawns. Like queen has pawns, but does the queen have a rook? Does the queen have a bishop? Does the queen have a king? Does the queen have a checkmate plan? Like, does she have a checkmate plan in order? I guess it's more along the strategic aspects of chess, because we have seen Crow... and I think that's cool, too, how Ozpin decided to go with chess pieces, and then the symbol of the virus that Cinder used was a chess piece, a queen's chess piece. And Crow mentioned queen has pawns. So I think there's more to like the choosing of those relics than meets the eye. And like Nora's team, like Team Juniper, chose the queen, like I think they chose the... No. They chose the rook pieces. No one chose the queens, I don't think. Team Cardinal chose the black bishop pieces. Team Ruby chose the knights. Team Juniper chose the rook, because I'm queen of the cat. Like she was talking about the castle, not the queen piece. So she chose the rook. So no one got the queen. Well, because no, they couldn't choose those pieces. So maybe Ozpin's the king and Salem is the queen, and then the pieces are represented by the teams that picked those pieces, because those pieces are the ones that always have doubles in a game of chess. Holy fuck, dude, I just had a brain blast. That is awesome. So maybe Ozpin's the king and Salem is the queen. Because I never considered Ozpin to be anything like anyone else. Like, after the World of Remnant with Aura, when they said a person's semblance can turn them into more than just a man, I always assumed that Ozpin wasn't human, or he wasn't just a typical huntsman or a typical headmaster. So, yeah, Jimmy Neutron, yeah, Brain Blast. Yeah, like that's... Like, I love when I get those, like when I just keep going, and then it keeps going, and then I just reach the conclusion. I'm like, my freaking brain's just fried. Theory gone too far. The good guys just lost their king. Oh, man. I gotta get up early. Oh, Jamie, I tried to contact you for the live stream that for the Skype call we had yesterday. I didn't have your Skype, so if you're still in the chat, Jamie Coleman, send me your Skype username. Either send it to me in a comment, send it to me in a message, send it to me on Twitter or something, because we missed you. I was trying to contact you and somebody else, but some people were able to make it, some people weren't, and I want you to be there for when Volume 4 actually starts. So if you're still in here, you have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. I'm glad I saw your name in the chat, and I will talk to you soon. But anyway, so yeah, fucking Grim. He's connected with the whole Salem thing, hopefully. And, the bones and all that stuff. Pretty cool stuff. So we're going to keep moving. This was pretty cool, too. Again, shout out to the lighting and just the atmosphere for everything that's going on in here. The shadows and the shading and stuff like that. If you see behind RWBY, I couldn't get a good screenshot of this, but if you look behind RWBY, the building actually took damage. So, again, just attention to detail. It's not like she just hit the wall and nothing happened. Like when RWBY also came flying back down to the ground after bouncing off of the Nevermore, she actually crashed and there was like a crater that was formed. Same thing with the, same thing that happens with the Berengal Grim as he's like fighting her on the roofs. So again, just shout out to that. Again, attention to detail. So this is where things got so exciting. I loved the chase. I loved how he punched RWBY into the wall. RWBY like swoos off to the side of the cliff. She's jumping on the side of the like from rooftop to rooftop. I keep saying cliff. She's jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and he's just running alongside on the ground. And this next scene. Oh my god. Okay, so first off, shout out RWBY, freaking Smirkery over here. Again, awesome facial recognition. You can see kind of like the cartoony smoke that I mentioned earlier. It kind of is like out of whack when it comes to like, okay, this is supposed to be really dramatic, this is supposed to be a really tense moment, and then the smoke that's going in the background, I can only consider that to be like a smoke that you would see like in a cel-shaded like video game or cartoon or something, and you just see it in the background. So I just thought that was pretty funny. But this scene right here, this, oh my god, dude. Whoever came up with this fight scene, whoever came up with this right here, like, hey, let's get this Grim to grab this Grim and throw him into fight. You are a fucking genius, okay? Crater face. So this right here is an example of how smart this fucking Grim is and how much I appreciate the fact that the Grim, again, are becoming smarter, more intelligent, more strategic, more tactical. And again, I'm going to always go back to it. It gives me hope. It literally just gives me hope, okay? This Grim is thinking of two things right now, all right? RWBY's running up on the cliff. You guys just saw right here. She's on the cliff. She's just laying fire with Crescent Rose. And this Grim is getting shot from down, from the ground. She has a vantage point. She's got the higher ground. I have the higher ground, Anakin. But anyways, she has the higher ground. And this Grim's thinking right now, how do I get from point A to point B? How do I get from me to her without getting shot at, without getting potentially killed, and kill her? Because as a Grim, that's their objective. So you would think this Grim's a fucking savage. This Grim is just grabbing one of his dudes and fucking just grabbing whatever's near him, because he's close range. He's not ranged or anything. He doesn't have like a weapon or anything. So he's like, let me just grab this Grim and fucking throw him. No. This Grim is fucking smart as fuck, okay? This Grim is thinking, at least I'm going to hope that this Grim is thinking, I need to get from where I am on the ground to her on the roof. She's going to lay fire on me. I need to stop her. I need to give myself enough time to get to her without having to defend myself. So I'm going to take one of my Grim over here. I'm going to throw this Grim at her. So the Grim proceeds to throw. All right? Following that, the Grim that he's throwing, also intelligent, hey, I'm getting thrown at this girl. Not only am I just going to be barreling at her and she's got to make a choice to either dodge me or attack me, but I'm going to make an attempt to kill her as well. So the Grim continues. On top of the fact, as he's getting thrown in like a twisting motion. So he's generating that momentum into that swipe that he has right there. Had RWBY honestly not killed him, she would have died. So she ends up killing him. All the while, between the Berengal throwing her making the decision in her head to kill it, the Grim retaliating that's already at her, the Berengal is able to make it to the roof. That's so fucking clever, dude. That literally blew my fucking mind the first time I watched it at the convention, because I was like, this Grimm is so fucking intelligent. Like, and it's a fact, obviously. The Grimm has survived battles. The Grimm has survived encounters. It's lived. It has the damage and the, in the lack of the eye and the battle scars to prove it. But the thought that this Grimm is thinking is literally on par with, like, a human's level of perception. And I really... like, I really, really, really seriously hope that they decide to go even further with this level of intellect that they're giving to the Grimm. This Grimm has seen some shit. Yeah, so like, thanks for the shout out. I got a question. Do you think Neptune is secretly OP when it comes to semblance and his fear of water? I honestly might think Neptune's afraid of water because of his weapon. His weapon generates electricity. I wouldn't be surprised if he, like, shocked himself in the water once and now he's scared of water. Like, it's a traumatic kind of experience. Oh yeah, that's another cool thing too. Like, if the Grimm have, like, a hive mind mentality, like if they're all, or maybe if their mind is, like, networked, because how do the Grimm communicate? You know what I mean? Salem speaks human language if she is part Grimm or whatever, or if she is a Grimm with human capabilities. She speaks English. The Queen Mira also spoke English, but the Locust also spoke English too. So, or spoke, the human language. So I wonder if they speak telepathy, like if they're telepathic, if they're hive mind, if they're all networked into the same thought process, a la hive mind. That'd be very interesting to know too. Think back to Salem. Plot twist, the Grimm are organic gas. Dude, fucking, I love Mass Effect. Don't even get me started. The whole world's messed up where she is. Yeah, so some people, I guess, assume that there are some people, I guess, like, based on what I've read, based on what I've seen, like, videos, some people are under the impression that the Silver Eyes are related to the Maiden Powers, because initially everyone's reaction, well, most of the people's reaction to seeing Ruby, activate her Silver Eyes was she might be a maiden. She might be the spring maiden, the summer maiden, whatever. And it's like, and then Crow's story kind of explains, like, no, that's a different concept. Like, the maidens are one thing, Silver Eyes are a different thing. Ruby just happens to be one of them. But at the time, I could understand it, just because, obviously, if Summer was a maiden and she died, the last thing she would probably think of before she died is her daughter. So I can understand where that comes from, and it being dormant in a child. But, alright. But anyways, continuing on from there. So we get more confrontation. I loved this standoff right here. Like, they're both, like, feeling each other out. It's like they're moving really slow. The music is just on point. Shout out to whoever does the music too. Maybe if it's Alex Abraham or Jeff Williams, the music was fucking awesome, and the music kind of was akin to the Red trailer as well. Like, it kind of had, like, the same. It used, like, the same type of instrumentals, like the guitar, like the solo guitar and stuff like that, in a different way. I just really liked it. So then right here, Grimm, fucking, oh my god, smart as fuck, using the bones on its body to protect itself from guns and shots and stuff like from shot, and stuff like that. It's like, this Grimm's so smart. It's so smart. I fucking love it, dude. Again, another nod to its intellect. And then Ruby, defending herself in the middle of, in the heat of the battle, like him just fucking wailing in on her. And then we see again, she decides to just fly up into the air and just come bouncing back down, again expressing the fact that she's using her semblance. And it's very, 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 very clear that her semblance has improved, because she is working her way around this fucking Grimm. Like, this Grimm can't even, like, get in on her. Because she hits it, moves again, hits it, gets out of the way, and then the Grimm's like, fuck this shit, and then he just slams the ground, and she falls into the lower level. But I think the main reason why she was struggling in this fight, and I think this was, like, if it wasn't for that last move at the end, she might have actually needed Team Juniper to help her. And yes, I know Pyrrha's dead. I'm still going to call them Team Juniper, because that's what they are. In spirit, Pyrrha is always with her team. But I think the reason why she had such a problem with this fight, if you guys remember Volume 2, The power of milk. No more cookies. Oh my god, you guys. Well, I guess that could be a reason of how she's lasted this long. A Cornel, yeah, I'm gonna mention the ruby spear thing. Give me 1 second. Oh my god, that was hilarious. The power of milk and cookies. Yeah, but anyways, if you guys remember Volume 2, actually, I just realized, like, how parched I am. Give me a second. If you guys remember Volume 2, Chapter 11, No Breaks, the fight scene between, like, Team RWBY, each one of them goes up against a different fight. RWBY goes up, RWBY tries to help, Oobleck stop the train. Yang fights Neo, Blake fights Torchwick, and then Weiss fights the White Fang Lieutenant. The White Fang Lieutenant and Weiss fight in particular. Weiss didn't have the upper hand in that fight. She managed to last as long as she did because she had dexterity and she had speed and agility on, like, not speed, just being more agile. She had all of that in her court. What she lacked that made it kind of like pointless of, you know, everything she was doing. She was landing all of her hits. She was avoiding all of his attacks. She used her haste ability. She used her glyphs. She was doing really good. And then the lieutenant just grabs her once, hits her, slams her into the ground, and that's it. And that's because it's dexterity versus endurance. It's speed versus strength. That's why she was struggling. That's why she lost that fight. And I think that's why RWBY was having such a difficult time with this Grim. This Grim has thick as fuck skin. This Grim is smart. It's not stupid. It knows how to fight back. It has bones that's protecting it even further. It's very, it's hand-to-hand combat oriented, which means so is RWBY, so she's got to be close with it. It moves very quick. It uses its bones, again, to protect itself from the projectiles. And all the hits she's doing isn't doing anything to it. It's just aggravating it. Like, she was giving, like, I can't screenshot them, but she was giving him hits. He was just taking the hits, and he was just relentless. She was the one that had to block and defend and swoop all around him because she lacked the power to back up her attacks. Like, she was basically doing chip damage at this point. And again, I feel like if it wasn't for her speed, if it wasn't for that vortex tornado that we see eventually, that would have been the problem. Again, right here, like, he's like, fuck this shit, crashes open, like, caves in, collapses the roof, she falls in. And I really liked this scene. I put this scene in here. I don't know why, but it was super satisfying. Like, RWBY is already in there. Just the scene of the Grim jumping and landing on the ground and then just, like, beating its chest. It just felt so awesome to just see. I was like, that's fucking sick. Like, this Grim is so fucking awesome. Like, it was like the icing on the cake for me of just the Grim just showing off its bravado. So I just wanted to put this in here just to compliment, like, that moment again, too. And for any of you guys who don't know, most of this was done, well, a lot of this was done with mocap. And how it was worked was Joel Mann, one of the animators, he actually got kid crutches. He got kid crutches. He says he found them, but, a lot of us would like to think that he actually took them from a crippled child. But he used kid crutches to do a lot of the gorilla movements, like the walking around and, like, stuff like that, just to kind of emulate the just basically emulate the movements and stuff like that for a gorilla itself. Hulk smash. That's fucked up, man. I like to think of it as very, very funny. Like, the community themselves, like, you know how many fucking Pyrrha jokes that we hear? How many freaking ash jokes we get? Like, Pyrrha's ashes and quarters and pennies jokes. And, I think that is very along the lines of our sense of crude humor. Yeah, like, it very much reminded me of, like, Spanish music. Like, you had, like, the guitar playing. You had, I think there was a bit of piano in there. Yeah, there was a bit of, I don't know, it was like string music, like string instruments in there. Rest in pennies, Penny. Oh my god. So yeah, I really liked this scene. We're probably going to be wrapping up soon too. And then the Grim too, analyzing the situation. Again, another level of intelligence. Like, the Grim's like, wait, I just fucking wrecked her. She's not dead yet. First off, I don't know why you would think you destroyed, like, you beat her. She just fell. Like, it's not like she fell into a bottomless pit hole. She just fell a story down. So I like how the Grim was like, it was all bravado, and then it kind of stopped, and it realized, like, no, shit's still going on, and it turned around and looked. Again, shout out to its level of thinking. And then you see it reacting to Ruby's petals. Again, I think the petal effect is really cool, and how it would be super cool if Ruby can just turn into rose petals. But again, I feel like this is just like, it's just fan service. It's just there to look cool, like to be flashy and whatnot, and to represent Ruby. Like, oh no, you thought you beat her. She's still around and she's about to come at you. And then she fucking busts through the window. And this cool, like, this is like screensaver material right here. And again, I think this is very akin to the Red trailer, how all of the girls kind of started out with, how all the girls really started out when it came to, like, their trailers. Like, all of them had a moment, like a still moment when they were in the air of all of their trailers, before, like a final strike before the trailer ended or the fighting ended. And it's not exactly, it feels like the same. Like, it's a very slow motion moving scene of Ruby busting out of the glass window, and you see the moon in the background. And again, I feel like it's very, it's a callback, it's an homage, it's a tribute to the original Red trailer. So I think that's pretty boss too. That Grim strategized that plan for the past few months. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this Grim has, like, surveyed this whole area. But that's the thing, you only see this one Gorilla Grim. You see a bunch of Nevermores, you see a bunch of Nevermores and a bunch of Beowulfs before this fight, during, and even after the fight when Ruby runs back in. But you only see that one Gorilla Grim. So I'm wondering if those Grim are very few and far between, but they're higher echelon than the other types of Grim. Maybe there are more Berengal Grim that have lasted longer, who look more ferocious, who actually are more smarter and would deal with Ruby a lot better. But I wouldn't say like they're ancient, like a Dragon Grim or maybe Salem or something like that. The Goliaths are the same too. The Goliaths are very few and far between. But, or maybe it's just for the sake of the trailer because, it's a new Grim, it's a Gorilla Grim. But maybe we'll see more of it. But Grim Army Battalion. But yeah, so, okay, we're coming up to the last few screens of this here. Oh, so we got this. Okay, so then Ruby kind of just ends it, leg sweep right here, followed by the cool fucking tornado aerial attack. And then what's really cool is she kind of does like a slight modification to her weapon. And she also did this in her original trailer too, where she unhinges Crescent Rose and she makes it into like a spear. And she just spears the fucking Grim straight into the ground, right in the center of its chest between the armor plating, like to just get right to it, to where it's most vulnerable. And, yeah, the trailer's fucking dope, dude. I love the trailer. And, you spin me right round. Yeah, or a glaive, a spear, glaive. Oh, it's a glaive, though. Alright. I stand politically corrected. But yeah, like, that's so fucking sick. Like, how her weapon has, like, a slight modification. I don't really know how it'll be used beyond, like, this. Because in the trailer, like, she, like, kind of used it to do, like, a wide-angled swipe. This one is obviously for piercing damage. And then she just bodies the fucking Grim. Like, she spears it, hinges it back, pulls back on the trigger, and fucking blows its brains out. And it dies, and I'm like, fuck off, man. That was such an awesome Grim. I really hope we see more of it, like, just in the same fashion, too. Or maybe even, like, again, on the same level of thought or beyond. I would love to see, like, Team Juniper handle one of them, or, like, with Team Ranger, I guess, at this point. But I love to see any of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, because a lot of people are like, oh man, I really want to know what Jean's semblance is. I wouldn't be surprised if he's discovered his semblance during the time skip, and in the middle of a fight or something like that, it'll be revealed. Because then that's a cool way to kind of, it's a cool way to not spend all of the screen time kind of realizing, okay, well, he has to discover his semblance. Like, it's less screen time for him when it comes to discovering his semblance, and we can infer that he's already learned it. So that way, when we see it, we can just imply, okay, well, he didn't know it in Volume 3, and there was a 6 to 8 months time skip for Volume 4, so we can just imply that he learned it during his travels. And then depending on what it is, that's where the hype will actually come from, depending on how it works and stuff like that. Ren's semblance is another one that I'm really hoping we see. Nora, she channels and generates electrical currents, which is pretty awesome. That's again that's a reference to Thor, so that's pretty awesome. So we see this, and then boom, we see Team Juniper. We see Jean, Nora, and Ren. 6 to 8 months later, Jean looks more similar than any of them. It looks like Nora and Ren have like a new attire. It still looks like Jean's wearing his, like, you can see like the hood part of his hoodie. Nora, I don't know if her jacket was always that widened, like on the top, and then had black on the sides. And then Ren has like his fucking collar goes all the way up. Obviously, their hair. Nora has longer hair. I like it. Ren's hair is really long too, which is pretty cool. I really like how that looks for him. And if you notice here, she's using her scroll. She's using she's the broadcast. She's receiving their broadcast, and it says local area only. Now, if you guys remember the world like we obviously learned about the CCTS in the World of Remnant for volume 3, and for the finale of RWBY Volume 3, the beacon tower went down. And from the CCTS, they mentioned that if one of the communication systems, if one of the towers is knocked offline, the entire network goes with it. So basically, for the last 6 to 8 months, all 4 kingdoms have been disconnected from each other. None of them knows the state of each other's well-being or the aftermath of whatever they watched after the tournament. They could be formulating their own beliefs or thoughts based on what's happening. Cinder, Emerald, or Mercury could be going back to whatever places and spreading lies like, hey, we were there, we know what happened, Atlas is doing this, Ozpin is doing that, don't trust these guys. They could be spreading propaganda in issues that when they come to defend themselves, it's like, you can't, and they can't communicate with each other. They have the relays, the small relay towers that are more based for, local area, which is how they're able to communicate with each other. But very, 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 very exciting to know that, and I love how they put local only, because it's like, yeah, you can't widespread communicate between kingdoms now, which is, again, very scary, because for the most part, nobody trusts Atlas. Beacon is gone, and they can't repair it either, because they can't even get into Beacon. Beacon is fallen. You have the giant Grim Dragon, which is on the top of the tower, so they can't rebuild it, and they can't rebuild it because that Grim is attracting other Grim. So there's no way to, unless they clear out Beacon and fix the tower, there's no way to relink the tower system back up for kingdom-wide communication. So that's another mess up. That's dividing them. That's kind of like that's the plan of what Salem is up to. Like, she wants to divide people, and all of the World of Remnants have kind of given us foreshadowing, like, it's mankind's duty to shepherd, it's mankind's duty to, shepherd, peace and unity between each other for the future. May they never succumb to darkness. Even the kingdoms, the World of Remnant with kingdoms, Salem, she was the narrator that she mentioned, the 4 kingdoms stand as beacons, a symbol of hope for mankind's survival as long as they stand united. And then, I think there was another one that kind of alluded to the fact of, like Ozpin, he mentions, like, no voice can be silenced without the rest, and no voice is louder than the others. If the people of Remnant are to speak, they are to do so together or not at all. So this is very much about Salem dividing people, and it's up to huntsmen and huntresses to try to keep that peace intact through just trust and honesty and believing. And if divide is any type of, if the song Divide is any kind of foreshadowing or any kind of, hint of what's to come, I'm pretty sure for the most part people are going to be very divided to where her plans are going to succeed. So follow Lady Cinder. Oh man. But yeah, so we get this, which is pretty awesome. We get to see a better shot of RWBY here with smiling. She's got teeth, she's got a lips, she's got a nose, she's got a complexion. So that's all pretty awesome. I love how the models looked for her, as well as the rest of Team RWBY, the modelers for the nomads, the villagers that were running off at the beginning. it's going to be awesome to kind of see how everything comes together, like seeing surrounding areas, seeing passerby, people, in passing, like random, fodder characters who are just in the background, just to see their models coming all the way from, Volume 1 being shadow people, and then Volume 2 actually having a presence, and then Volume 4 seeing them in a different character model sense from the upgraded animation. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then these are the last few screens. I really liked this shot. I took this shot just because of the moon itself. It looks so beautiful, like the particle kind of effect that it has. Like you see the base, the moon, the most of the moon, and then you see like the shattered, the bigger shattered pieces, and then you see like the stardust kind of shattered pieces. I thought that was a really beautiful shot, so that's why I kind of screen capped that just to mention that. And then we have the Ice Queen Weiss back at home. She's wearing her dress attire, one of the attires from the concept art. She's back at home, probably like locked away in her room or something like that, back to her father's rules and stuff like that. So I'm hoping how she's going to come out of this, because like I mentioned, if anything, she's under her father's thumb. It's her father's way or the highway. I wonder if we're ever going to find out about their mother, because I mentioned this in my Skype call yesterday, but we've never heard about Weiss's mother. It's always been my grandfather's company, my father's company, my father's money, my father, cut me off, maybe father will give you a job as a receptionist. It's always been their dad. It's always been Winter and Weiss's dad. It's never been their mother. It's never been their grandparents or anything. So I'm wondering if maybe Papa Schneez always raised them by himself. Maybe the wife died. Maybe the wife left. I don't really know. I would like to think it's something more tragic, just because that would add more to her very difficult childhood that she mentioned. And then maybe Winter will help her too, because Winter kind of was more along the line, was more on board for her discovering herself and not, explaining things to her father, kind of discovering more of herself. She gave her a lot of confidence to help her learn how to get her summoning at the end of Volume 3, and I really like the dynamic, the sibling dynamic between the two. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Winter comes back and tries to get her out, tries to give her back, send her back to RWBY, or if, RWBY herself goes there to see what's up. So we have that. So hopefully we see more of her. We have Blake over here by the ocean, and that'd be pretty cool. Like, again, ocean, so hopefully we'll get some seaside adventures, some aquatic grim like a lot of people were mentioning. Pretty sure we won't see Neptune anywhere near a setting like this, just by the fact of his phobia. So that's pretty cool too. And then Blake's looking back. I don't know what's going on with her. She seems very vigilante. She seems very rogue-like, pirate-like, if you will, just by... And I don't know if any of you guys saw my RWBY Volume 4 final concept art video that I did a couple of days ago, but she's literally rocking Seto Kaiba's coat. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. Somebody on the animation team or the art team must be a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, a Seto Kaiba fan, a Blue Eyes White Dragon fan, just because that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, is that Kaiba's like coat or whatever? So yeah, there's that too. And then lastly, we have Yang. And I like how her hair's up. I didn't notice this during the I didn't notice this at RTX, but it seems like she has her hair up now. She's wearing a coat that doesn't seem to be hers. There's like a patch on the side. Maybe it's her dad's coat. She's wearing the same orange shirt, so I'm pretty sure it's the same same tank top that she wore, like her pajamas in Volume 1. And someone even mentioned this to me too, that the orange scarf that she has is just her tank top rolled up when she puts like her actual outfit on. So and that like kind of blew my mind. That would have been awesome for me to include in my Volume 1 reference video. But I think that's kind of cool too. Like that's just it's just something that she always hangs on to. And yeah, she's down in the dumps. It looks like it's springtime now back at home. So time has passed, obviously. So we went from winter, so it was the fall after Volume 3. From Volume 3 to right before RWBY leaves, it shifts to winter. And then 6 to 8 months later, you go through the harsh winter, you go through the upcoming of spring, and that's what it looks like it is here, because there was snow on the ground before RWBY left. So it seems like it's springtime now, back where Yang is. It looks like Yang, for the most part, I feel is going to go through a lot of internal development, coming to terms with her disability, coming to terms with learning from her past mistakes where she fucked up. Maybe Raven will come through and, you know, knock some sense into her, like maybe give her some motivation. Maybe Tai Yang will actually do that because it seems like he's the homebody, and Yang learned how to fight from her dad. RWBY mentioned that in the first episode of Volume 3. She mentioned Yang's a great fighter. You could tell she really learned a lot from Dad. So maybe Tai Yang will kind of teach her a new way of fighting, a new style of fighting with her disability, to kind of make her look like, or kind of build her up to be who she looked like in her final concept art, which was a pretty badass version of herself now, like one that's really out for vengeance, or someone that's not going to sit down and, you know, let depression and stuff like that get to her. So there's that, and then we got the release date, October 22nd, which is in about 3 weeks or so. But yeah, like I'm very, 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 very excited for this. And this video is about 2 hours long, so hopefully, wow, 512 people are in here. That is awesome. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'll dedicate the last 10 minutes or so just to the chat, just because I already understand and know that, for the most part, I was just rambling. But I do want to get, if anything we mentioned, anything we talked about, let it loose in the chat, and I'll try to pick up on anything. How will Team RWBY come back together? I think it'll be like, I think it's going to be very awkward how they come back together, especially since, like, with Blake, the dynamic with Blake and Yang, and, you know, Weiss just leaving off with her family. Stuff like that. I don't know. It's going to be very odd how they come back together, depending on how much longer they're going to be apart, because they've been apart for 6 to 8 months already. Even longer, maybe even a bit longer, depending on whenever RWBY came to after Beacon fell. JD Brony, how's it going, dude? Thanks for joining. Let's see. Is Gorilla Grimm best girl? It's best Grimm in my book, I think. Hold on. Let me try to keep up with the chat. Oh yeah, so Rooster Teeth tends to do this. They've done it in the past 3 volumes too, where they have gone as far as to release a promotional trailer, like stuff that, like little snippets of part-by-part moments that are in the actual volume. And they've also always released the opening before the series starts. I don't know if they'll do the same thing with giving us a World of Remnant early, because it seems like promotion for Volume 4 is a lot further along the line. It's like a lot closer to the premiere of RWBY than like any other volume, I think. But for the most part, if this is the trailer that we're gonna get for Volume 4, then we can expect at least the opening before the premiere on the 22nd. So RWBY finally got character development. Let's see. I was wondering, what do you think of the more anime aesthetic of the characters? Honestly, I think it'll give people who have been, you know, on the fences of starting RWBY or not taking it as seriously, it'll give them more of a reason to kind of bear through the first 3 volumes to see it in its higher quality. There are some people out there who are just purists who assume that anime can only be anime if it's developed by Japanese animators from where it originated or whatever. But, you know, I personally feel like it's and, you know, anime, when it comes to anime, like you have to get down to the definition. Okay, what is the definition of an anime? Some people will say, well, it's, you know, an animation produced by a Japanese Japanese studio, you know, based in Japan or made by Japanese. Some people will just give you the straight up, like, it's animation, like it's short for animation. But for the most part, I kind of relay anime to Japanese animation. But I know RWBY kind of draws a lot of inspiration from Japanese anime, which is why it's kind of dubbed an American anime. Just because there's never been anything like it. And the Japanese audience kind of takes to it, which is even crazier because it's usually the opposite. Like, we get Japanese dubbed anime that is later brought over to the West, and then we end up liking it too. So I think it's kind of cool now. Like, I wish the Japanese audiences were like on par with, like, when it comes to like watching RWBY. I'd love to watch like Japanese viewers like react to RWBY, like, because oh my god, oh man, I wish I was at least in the theaters, or I wish like the Japanese audience did reactions on YouTube. It's just so fucking awesome, because a lot of people already do awesome reactions, and I love like relating to a lot of people who do videos like that. But to see like not just because it's the Japanese audience, but it's a new audience of people who are behind on RWBY and who are catching up, and it's blowing up out there. And I kind of want to see how it's flourishing. If Rooster Teeth let you make a character for the story, what would he look like? Oh, God. Well, first off, I'm not the best in terms of creativity. I can't draw to save my life. I wouldn't even know, honestly. I would be more... Well, first off, that's like a fucking legendary pipe dream, but I would be more... I don't know. I would be more comfortable with just voice acting, just because I've never voice acted, but to put the extra thought into coming up with my own character design, my own character's personality, and how it relates to the story. It's almost like fan fiction or a RWBY OC that I've just never done before. So that would be nuts. But I honestly wouldn't know. Have you seen the closed captions for the trailer? I did. They're very hilarious. A bunch of people were linking it to me, so I watched it yesterday. Rooster Teeth, listen the fuck up. Quote this. Oh, God. Let's see. Sorry if I'm late. I really love your content. Zachary, you are on the tail end of the stream. I've been streaming for about 2 hours. If you hold out in a few minutes, not a few minutes, but in a little bit, I'm going to be ending the stream, and then it'll be uploaded to my channel in its entirety for anybody who missed it or anyone who joined late or what have you. So you can go through it in the 2 hours. I really don't expect anyone to just sit through 2 hours of me just talking, to be completely honest. I'm not like a podcast, I'm not, and it's just me talking. So in many cases, my first live stream that I did, the test live stream was 2.5 hours, and I'm like, no one's gonna sit through this. That's why I'm kind of, what's it called? I'm kind of hesitant about putting up videos like this, because I don't want to put up videos that no one's gonna watch or is just a drag or something like that to watch. But yeah, for anybody who is late, this will be uploaded to my channel, as well as all subsequent live review discussion videos like this. Be it World of Remnants, be episodes, and if we have a break, then if Rooster Teeth does a RWBY live stream event, that's something that I can get on and talk about with you guys. But yeah, that's the live stream, guys. I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Hold on, let me see. I loved it, don't worry. What would be the most terrifying Grim type? I would want something more on the mythological side. A unicorn Grim would be dope. But unicorns by nature aren't really terrifying or anything. Well, first off, they're mythological, Arnold, so I was trying to rationalize yeah, unicorns aren't that bad. Well, first off, they don't exist. But I like how they're going more mythological, like griffins and dragons and stuff like that. So if they keep I would really like that. A Manticore? You mean like a chimera? Oh, a chimera Grim. That'd be dope. Grim gnomes. They had a dragon. Minotaur Grim. That would be pretty cool too. That's another humanoid. That I would really like that. Are you seeing my question? I'm seeing your. If you want your question to kind of be noticed, because the chat's going a mile a minute, so I apologize. Thoughts on the window being the same design? I'm going to talk about that in my review. I didn't really mention it because I would have had to go back and find that clip, but I'm going to mention that in my review. But I will mention it, and I will give you credit, Brandon, because you're the one who came up with it, and I just noticed it afterwards. So I'm definitely going to mention you and mention that in my review in the next couple of days that I do. Oh, but yeah, so if you want a question to be answered, I'm going to just go through the last few questions before I end the stream. Put at MurderofBirds in your comment, and it will be highlighted for me to see it. So, do you think Penny will be rebuilt? It's a possibility, but I don't, based on the amount of time that's passed, if it hasn't already happened, then no. But we have yet to see. Who's your favorite character? I have a few favorite characters. Pyrrha, Weiss, Nora, Crow, and Mercury. Those would be my top 5 favorite characters. Let's see. Prediction on next death. Couldn't really say, honestly. You can't really, like, we have nothing to go off of. We just have a time skip. So, I don't really know yet. Do you think we'll see Pyrrha's family? Some people assume that we might see Pyrrha's family based on the fact we're going to Mistral. That's where Pyrrha was from. Pyrrha's headdress was the only thing that wasn't incinerated when Cinder killed her. So maybe, you know, Ruby has it, or maybe when Crow went to go get Ruby, he picked it up, and, you know, maybe she has it in her possessions, and she could easily give it to Jean, and then Jean can give it to her family as, like, the last remaining thing left of her. So, just because they can't have, like, a proper burial or anything like that for her. Do you think the story is weak or bad, like, or as much as the others? I think the story's even better, honestly. I think Volume 3's theme shift was what, like, and here's the thing, too. Like, a lot of people wanted it. A lot of people were like, oh, man, this is too happy-go-lucky. This is too childish. Like, there's nothing in this world that's terrifying or scary. And then you get the theme shift. You get the maidens. You get, you get death. You get a ton of shit barreling at, like, you get a ton of stuff, like, one after the other, and it's all too much to handle at once, to where people are like, no, what the heck are you doing? Like, you're going too fast. No, we want the old stuff. So it's like, first off, you can't please everybody. Second of all, I was destroyed by Volume 3, and I still made it out alive, and I've come to accept the fact that this is the shift, and Monty's had this in mind before Volume 1. So, despite the fact of RWBY coming off as this happy-go-lucky show, with starry-eyed kids and, like, a very light atmosphere for even younger viewers, a viewer discretion, there's no target demographic, and they mentioned that. They were like, RWBY has no target audience. It's whoever's willing to check it out, enjoy it, and watch it, and that's why the viewer discretion is there, because the early parts of the show were more akin for kids and younger viewers, but they always knew that the show had the potential to pick up the pace in terms of theme, in terms of, suggestive themes, like, more crude language, like damn and stuff like that, or blood, or more violence and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like they always knew that this would eventually happen. It's just like a lot of people feel like it was kind of forced, or that they kind of just did it on a whim. So, what do you think ever happened to Pyrrha? To Neo. She just flew off, I would say. Maybe like caught her bearings somewhere else. Maybe is just making her way, trying to find out what the hell to do, or if Roman's are all right or whatever, because she doesn't know he's dead. So I feel like the second she finds out, shit's gonna hit the fan. Do you think Crow could be Ruby's dad? I already talked about this yesterday. Everything that's pointed to that has all been subjective evidence and nothing objective or definitive or concrete. It's based more on, like, again, subjectivism of RWBY dresses like Crow, or RWBY acts like Crow, or RWBY, stuff like that, or RWBY and him have the same color hair, or RWBY doesn't look like Tai Yang, or stuff like that, or RWBY, like, Yang looks like her mom and dad, because RWBY only looks like her mom. There's no way that Tai Yang could be it. It's like, first off, it's all about dominant and recessive genes. RWBY could look like neither of her parents. RWBY can look like her grandmother. RWBY can look like anyone in her family tree. I don't feel like that holds a lot of weight. I feel like, for the most part, it's more based on the fact that I feel like the reason why this theory is going around a lot is because you can't disprove it, so that's why it exists, and that's why people stick to it. Personally, I feel like there's a lack of evidence. You need biological evidence, or you need from word of mouth, hey, I'm your dad. For me, I think if Crow isn't her dad, maybe Crow did have feelings for Summer. Maybe the beef between Crow and Tai Yang is because the fact that Summer died and Tai Yang was unable to prevent it. Or maybe, and this is a lot more likely, if he isn't her dad, and I say if he isn't, because I won't shut down a theory, like, especially if a theory like that, because it's possible. It could be. Crow could very much be RWBY's father. I'm not going to say he is, because I don't have the evidence, but I'm not going to say he's not, because it could be true, and then I'm eating my words at that point. But what I like to think is that if Crow did have feelings for Summer, then that would mean he sees RWBY as the daughter he could have had or should have had or whatever. I think that's more acceptable in believing right now than blatantly believing the fact. Like, and it's not the fact that the theory exists. It's the fact that the theory exists and people are willing to believe it, like, instead of waiting for it to be true. So, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Yeah, and it'd be really fucked up, because then at that point, RWBY's whole life would be a lie. To be like, hey, we didn't tell you, but you're a silver-eyed warrior. Hey, we didn't tell you, but I'm not actually your dad. You know, like, why would you... What would be the benefit of lying? That's another thing, too. Like, you would lie to protect RWBY. So what would be the point of lying to RWBY and saying, Tai Yang's your dad, I'm not your dad? And then down the line being, no, I am your dad. Just despite the fact that he's been in her life forever, I'd expect that it was him and Tai that raised the girls after Salem, his sister, just dipped and Summer died. So yeah. That's just how I feel about that. Will RWBY see her mother at some point? That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. Somehow, some way. I don't think you can bring people back to life, and you couldn't even bring people back to life in Harry Potter. You had the Resurrection Stone, but unless they have a concept like the Deathly Hallows, which would kind of be like a ripoff, I don't think so. I think we will still see, Team Stark, like a flashback episode. I feel like that'd be really awesome to see, just so we can know what RWBY's mom was like, to know the dynamic, to know what Raven was like, because if, Summer is dead, and Raven's probably different than she used to be, I'd like to see how they were as a group, or as a team, or maybe even have a flashback to what happened. Maybe we'll get a flashback of how Summer died. Like, I'd like to see episodes like that, like flashback episodes that push the plot, so that way that their context makes sense now, especially if Salem is the one that killed RWBY's mom. So, salutations from Mexico. Do you think there would be? Do you think we'll learn more about Raven? Absolutely. I think we will. Ultra Muffin Man, favorite weapon? Crow's weapon. I wish I knew the name of it. I don't know if they've been revealing names for weapons as of late, but I know like all the earlier weapons had names, and that's one cool thing that I kind of like Crescent Rose, Martinaster, Magenhild, Stormflower, stuff like that. So I'd really like to know the name of Crow's weapon eventually, if they get time to fill that in. I really hope that they do like the ultimate guidebook to RWBY, kind of like they already have it for Red vs. Blue. So I would love for them to do it with RWBY. Like RWBY's getting a lot of promotion and a lot of RWBY's getting a lot of the same treatment when it comes to Red vs. Blue. Like it's getting its own steelbook, and it's becoming it's almost becoming like Rooster Teeth's main attraction at a lot of conventions. So hopefully, Jean's shield. That's your favorite weapon? Can we please talk about Pirate Ninja Blake? I mean, we kind of discussed it. There's not really much to go off of. Like, her costume looks pretty cool. Reminds me a lot of Seto Kaiba. She seems very vigilante, very desperado and roguelike, like doing her own thing, not being in contact with anyone. I don't know but then, like, where does that leave her? Because if she's running off in fear of her friends to protect them from Adam, then where does that leave her in the world? What is she going to do? She doesn't have a school to go back to. She doesn't have an organization to go back to, the White Fang. She doesn't want to, endanger her friends, so she's going to stay away from them. So I just don't know. Maybe she'll be like a freedom fighter or something. I don't fucking know. But hopefully we'll find out. Blake is out to steal the 5 pieces of Exodia. Semblance Potato on subreddit. I found out about potatoes. My friend Jackson, we were playing League yesterday, and he was telling me, like, I don't know how to use Reddit. Like, I have a Reddit account. I haven't used it in months just because I don't know how to use Reddit. And I tried to make a Reddit so I can kind of be a part of, like, the community there, like the RWBY subreddit, and, like, put my videos there for anybody. So if any of you guys use Reddit, definitely, share my stuff there. But he told me about, like, potatoes, which are kind of, like, outlandish theories that are like you want them to happen but you just know that they won't, and he was telling me like a bunch of golden potatoes that were fucking awesome yesterday. Like he told me, for example, like from what we can infer, Fox, Team Coco. Fox is blind, and Velvet's a bunny rabbit. So she's a faunus, so she has bunny ears. And there was a potato theory that that Coco's beret and Coco's glasses aren't actually hers. They belong to Fox and Coco, and she takes it away from them, and she wears them so that way they're not insecure about themselves, and she holds on to them in case they ever want them back. So like Fox would wear the glasses because he's blind, and and Velvet would wear the hat because she's ashamed of showing her ears. So like that, like I was like, I want that to be true. Like I want that to be like, that's so fucking cool, and that just shows like a deeper camaraderie between Team Coco. But yeah, like I thought that was super clever for whoever came up with that. TLDR, Coco is a bitch to her friends. Jesus. I love that theory too, Brandon. That theory's fucking awesome. Do you like Smash Bros? Do I fucking like Smash Bros? Do you see what this is right here? I was playing Smash Bros last night. I love Smash Bros. It's probably the one game that I'm not the best at, but it's the one game that I'm super, super, super competitive in. Like, I always want to prove, like, I don't prove a point that I'm good. Like, I watch, like, pro players play, and I'll never be that good, but I feel like I'm the best that a casual player can be, I guess. I have a very competitive nature when it comes to Smash. Like, a bunch of my friends, like, we like playing with each other, but they tend to get more, like, upset about the fact that how I play, because it kind of ruins the fun for them. So, but yeah, I absolutely love Smash Bros. Let's see, yeah, Smash Bros is dope, dude. 1v1 me. I don't have a Wii U. I have a Wii, and I play Smash. I play Melee, and I play Project M. Project M is a mod of Brawl, which is kind of Project M, which means Project Melee, which was like a way to make Brawl play more like Melee. So those are the only two that I play. I don't have a Wii U anymore. And I'm hoping the NX comes out with a version, like a new Smash version, not a port of Smash 4. I hope the NX comes out with another Smash Bros, because I'll definitely buy it. How would you react if RWBY dies? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I guess like this, I wouldn't have an answer. I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah. Grimshark versus Neptune. Cash Money. What's your question, dude? You say, ugh, he won't see my question. Make sure you type in the chat using the @ sign and MurderofBirds. That way I can see your question better. Favorite semblance. Ooh, that's a good one. Favorite semblance. Oh, man. The second I say that, everybody does it. My favorite semblance, I think, would be... Shit. Probably Yang's semblance, like Pain is Power, kind of. Thoughts on Jean having a shield piece on his scroll image? I actually didn't notice that, to be honest. I have to go and double check that anyway when I do my review, so I'll probably mention it there. Huh. My favorite weapon, I mentioned this earlier, but my favorite weapon is Crow's weapon. That is my favorite weapon in RWBY. What are your thoughts on Raven's role in the White Fang? We don't know that she's in the White Fang, actually, despite her outfit kind of suggesting that. I don't really have much to mention on her because we've only seen her once, and that was in Volume 2. So I don't have much to go off of. Do you think Adam has silver eyes? No. I do not think so. I hope we see... I wonder if we'll see other people in the world... I wonder if other people in the world of Remnant have silver eyes besides RWBY. Do I play CSGO? Absolutely not. I'm not good at games like that. What do you think of the statue at the beginning? I don't know if it bears any significance, but only time will tell. What's your favorite theory on Neo? I don't really follow theories all that much. I don't think I've ever read much on theories, other than the fact that like she might get revenge on Roman. Do you play Overwatch? Yeah, I have Overwatch for PS4. I play it from time to time. I haven't played it in a while just because I've been working a lot on videos for, like, ever since RWBY came out. Who is your favorite character design? Like, for Volume 4, I would say RWBY. I'd definitely say RWBY. And then followed by Yang, if not Yang completely. What's your favorite Keyblade? You can't choose a Keyblade. You can't choose a single Keyblade. I would probably have to do a top 10, and I'd have to think about it. But some of the ones that come off the top of my head would be like Oblivion, Oathkeeper, the original Kingdom Key, Stardust. No, not Stardust. Diamond Dust. Serendipitous Duo, which is To Become One, which is Roxas's Keyblade. Roxas is my favorite character in Kingdom Hearts. Those would be a few. What's my favorite hero to play? I play support, so, hold on. I play support, so Anna, I prefer Anna and Mercy, and then, like, I play other characters like Soldier 76, Roadhog, Hanzo very, very rarely. What is a Keyblade? It's a weapon. That key up there, that's a Keyblade, and it's from a game called Kingdom Hearts, which I will eventually be bringing to my channel, probably at the beginning of the new year. What's your favorite weapon in all of media? I don't think I couldn't do that. I would at least have to have one for each. I feel your pain, Cosmic. Dude, I really am sorry that I can't, like, keep up. I can't, like, can you guys keep up with this chat? I can't. YouTube just doesn't have, like, a way to reduce the speed level of things. So I do apologize if you guys feel like I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm not. It's just, it's the chat. I can't. I'm just going based off of whatever my eyes glance on. That's, you know. What do you think of the new champion, League of Legends champion? The tree dude. He's pretty cool. I like his ability to I like his not his passive, but one of his abilities to make bushes. Yeah, I would definitely prefer Twitch over YouTube when it comes to the chat. That's why I was originally going to do Twitch, but Twitch doesn't let you discuss, like, do live streams like this if it's not gaming related. So unfortunately, I have to deal with this. But I am sorry, guys. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm ignoring you or anything. I'm doing the best I can. Have I recorded more Red vs. Blue? Yes. So for most of you guys, I was supposed to have a Red vs. Blue, a RWBY Chibi, and an RTX video uploaded already. But that was before RWBY, and then Rooster Teeth announced, hey, we're coming out with a trailer. So then I was like, fuck. Like, RWBY Volume 4 is upcoming, so I feel like that takes priority over things that are already past. Like, Red vs. Blue I'm catching up on, so it shouldn't be any surprise to anyone that I'm not caught up with Red vs. Blue, because I'm like 10, 11 seasons behind. But in the next 3 weeks, between now and Red vs. Blue, between now and Volume 4, I will be caught up with RWBY Chibi. All my RTX vlogs will be out, and I should finish Season 4 of Red vs. Blue, as well as the first mini-series, which I believe is called Out of Mind. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it's called. And a lot of people mention that Volume 4 doesn't really, Season 4, sorry, doesn't leave off at a particular point to stop at. So I might continue my Red vs. Blue reactions after RWBY starts, but I'm going to stop at Season 5. So, and that's just so when I come back to it, I'll be at a good stopping point at the beginning of Season 6. So, hey, I'm new. What did I miss? The entire stream. I'm sorry, dude. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 40 minutes now, and I'm just about ready to wrap up the stream. And I was just getting, like, some last minute questions. If you did miss the stream in any capacity, the stream will be up on my YouTube channel within the hour after it's done. Like, after I end it, it will be uploaded automatically to my YouTube channel for anybody who missed it, who wants to talk, who wants to see what we talked about. And that will also be true for any future streams that I do with RWBY, any of the episodes or any of the World of Remnants and stuff like that. So, oh my gosh, there's so much. Yes, I'm going to see RWBY Volume 3 screening. I don't have a favorite Pokemon. I like too many. Favorite Nen ability and Hunter would definitely be Slot's Kite's ability. I think that's pretty cool. Would you say it's worthwhile to travel to RTX? Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I have to go to RTX every year now. So I'm definitely going to have to start saving up money because I initially went because of the community, like through GoFundMe. So now that I've already been through them, I feel like it's more on me to now kind of support that myself to keep going. Favorite Digimon? Agumon. Season 1 and 2 of Digimon. My favorite Digimon of all time. Wargreymon is Bay. Let's see. I'm just going to get through some of these last minute questions, like rapid fire questions. Favorite volume? I don't have a favorite. I like all of them. I know that's a very cop-out answer, but it's the truth. Let's see. Yokai, never watched it. Jean's state of mind, very troubled, very depressed, maybe guilty in a way that he wasn't able to stop Pyrrha. What is your favorite song? It depends on my mood. I really like rock music. My favorite bands, like I listen to a lot of international music just because of anime and stuff. I listen to like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, 1OK Rock, Flow. Those are some of my favorite international bands. Some of my more home like nation bands, like in the U.S. or whatever. A Day to Remember, Coheed and Cambria. I don't know. I listen to a lot of anime music more than anything else. So, channel name inspiration. I will be making a video on that. I get that question asked more than anything, to the point where I need to make a video so people can stop asking me. No offense to you, but do you have an Instagram? Look at this mug. No, I don't have an Instagram. Favorite video game? Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Favorite RWBY song? Volume 1 would be Wings and I May Fall. Volume 2 would be Dream Come True and Dream Come True and Dream Come True. I can't think of the other one. I think it was Die. I'm not sure. And then Volume 3 would be Cold and Not Fall in Love with You. Is Ozpin more than a man? Yeah, he's like a freaking... I don't know what he is, dude. I really don't know what he is. Ren and Nora thoughts. Hopefully they get together. Favorite Zwei moment? Oh, dude, when he came out of the little parcel package, his intro, dude. He was like, Zwei! Like, that's so awesome. He was like, he sent a dog? And then you see what's-her-face. You see Blake on the freaking bunk bed, like, yeah, keep him away from me. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was All Our Days. Die is a very close runner-up for that. So Volume 2 is All Our Days and Dream Come True. I'll email my theory. This is impossible. Yeah, I'm sorry. Very, very sorry, guys. Don't take it personally. It's literally just... If YouTube ends up managing to have a way of, decelerating the amount of responses for the comments, then I'll be able to answer more questions. This usually tends to happen when people want to ask me personal things, which is why I'm probably going to incorporate some form of like Q&A videos in the future for anyone who wants to ask generalized questions or personal questions. So then when it comes to streaming stuff like this, we can stay focused on like the actual RWBY topic at hand. Volume is acting up. Oh, don't feel bad. You're doing great. Yeah, it is moving really fast. Oh, they do make the chat bigger, or at least you can see the chat bigger. What you have to do is at the bottom, like right where you can write your name, you'll see like the smiley face icon, and then you'll see like these 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots and then click pop out chat, and then it'll make a window just for the chat so you can see it more than just on the sidebar. I don't know if any of you guys knew that, but there you go. Wow, 64 messages per minute. Jesus Christ. Oh, Yang Super Saiyan. That'd be awesome if Yang had like a Super Saiyan 2. Like if her semblance evolved over time and she could be, like go Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan God? Super Saiyan God because Super Saiyan 4 isn't canon. You're welcome, Benjamin, no problem. I just knew it, yeah. Holy shit. Do you like RWBY Amino app? I'm on the app every single day, yes. I'm actually making a video on the RWBY Amino app for people who don't know about it in the community because I want everyone in the community to know about that app. Oh, man. Shooting messages faster than Bastion. Dude, that's lame. It's whatever. It's all subjective. It's an opinion. Super Saiyan 4 looks better, but you know, Super Saiyan God is just it should be stronger than Super Saiyan 4. On top of that, you're a god, for Christ's sake. What character death would make you stop watching RWBY? No character death. No, there's never been. I've never reacted anyway for anything that a death made me stop watching something. If anything, a death makes me more invested. Hey, what's up, Jose? Thanks for joining the stream. However, the stream is ending. What's your favorite show? I prefer like anime, YouTube videos, Twitch streams. I haven't watched TV in like 10 years. I stopped watching TV like after I got a computer, like freshman year, I stopped watching TV. Do you think Yang will get out of bed somewhere this volume? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's already out of bed and it's months later. I'm pretty sure she got out of bed a couple of days after RWBY left. Alright, guys. So, thank you all so much for hanging out in the chat. For those of you who feel any sort of way, I do apologize if you guys feel like I didn't get your question answered. You guys honestly just have to understand that it's not a guarantee that I will be able to respond to everything. I do try to be open in general, especially when it comes to me talking about the episodes the way I did, looking over the chat every so often. But Cash Money, send me your message. Like message me your question or comment in my latest video, because I was trying to find your question after I told you to put it like my @name in it, but I couldn't see it. So I feel like I owe it to you, especially just because you did mention it and I saw it in the chat that you were trying. Andrew the Saiyan, don't worry, for any of you guys who are joining late, if you guys feel like you've missed out on the stream, this stream will be going live on my YouTube channel in about 20-30 minutes after I end it. For any of you guys who want to bear through the 2.5 hours, I wouldn't blame you if you don't, but I appreciate any of you guys who managed to sit here through the 2.5, almost 3 hours that we've been doing this. We peaked at about 530 concurrent viewers, which is insane. And I do hope you guys plan on, sticking around and doing this again once the volumes start. It's probably going to get a lot more crazier in terms of more people joining, more stuff to talk about and stuff like that. But I do hope you guys, if anything, understand, just because I don't want anyone to feel like, they came here. If you, that's the thing. You shouldn't come into the stream expecting to have, a one-on-one conversation with me or talking directly with me, because I have, you're one person amongst 300, 400, 500 other people. So I have to, in the interest of fairness, I do have to keep it general, and I have to be, I have to keep it fair for everyone. But, chat dab, like that. Oh, dude, I never dabbed, so you guys should feel very honored and special and privileged the fact that I actually dabbed for you. And I just do and then I do it, so. Will you ever do live reactions? Have you seen my channel? Yeah, I will do I will be doing reactions for RWBY Volume 4. Continuing that up, reactions, live reviews, and discussions like today, and then more formal videos to get everything I want out on paper for you guys. But but thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for your support. Thanks for sticking around and hanging out with me. I will see you guys back again on the 23rd. For the RWBY Volume 4 Episode 1 live chat discussion. However, if they do come out with the opening, then I will also be doing I'll be doing a stream for that. But I will let you guys know in the reaction video that I will be following it up with a stream. But you guys all have a good night wherever you may live. Night, day, evening, afternoon, whatever. Again, thank you guys so much for the support. I hope you guys are stoked. Look forward to RWBY. I hope you guys enjoyed this, especially for all of you guys who stuck around. This will be uploaded to my channel later, and that's everything. So thank you guys so much, and have a good night. Take care.